I think we're back. I don't know what the hell happened there. What the actual hell just happened, but my YouTube literally just shut down. It just stopped working. Are we back? Oh my god, what a scuffed intro, guys. What a scuffed intro. Hold on. Let's see if we're back. I am so sorry about that. Are we back? I think we're back. Hold on. What the hell happened? What the fuck happened? Okay, we're back. We're back. But you guys don't see my background, do you? You guys don't see. What is going on? What the actual fuck? Hold on here. Let's try something. Wow. No background yet. Okay. One sec. Let's close this. Let's see if you see anything now. What a scuffed stream. I'm sorry, guys. We'll try to get Atacas back here in a second. I'm sorry, Atacas. I don't know what happened. I tried adding you to the call, and all hell broke loose. Let's see. Display capture. Why is it not showing up? Let me try. Dude. Yeah, the stream is dead. Okay. What the hell happened? Let me add this display capture again and see if we get it working now. Guys, I am so sorry about that. What the fuck, man? Display capture. There we go. Add existing. Will it work? Huh. I'm not getting anything coming up on my... Dude, what the fuck is going on? Oh my goodness. I got Blizzard Battle.net launching. One sec. Why is my display capture not coming up? This is pissing me off now. Alright. Scuffed stream. Jesus. Okay. Display capture. There we go. Okay. I think we're good now. Add existing source. Okay. Let's put it at the bottom. Okay. We should be good, guys. We should be good. Tell me if you see my background and everything. Give me a second. It'll load up. Okay. I think we're good. See your desktop. Now do you see me as well? Jesus Christ. Nice waifu wallpaper. Yeah, that is my waifu. Yeah, baby. Alright. Let's try to get this back going, guys. Jesus. Oh my god. What a horrible stream start. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. I can't believe that it just... I literally tried bringing him in, Atacas into the call, and everything just went shit. Went south. Dude, I can't wait to get a better internet. I think that might be the issue. Okay, let's see. What did we have going here? Elwyn Forest, right? Alright. Okay. Make sure this is all working. We can get the volume up a little bit. Hey guys, what's going on? Def Camp here. Welcome to the stream. Jesus Christ, sorry about the technical difficulties. None of that actually happened. It was a glitch in the Matrix. Glitch in the Matrix happens all the time. Leveling 101, grind the whelps. There you go, Alex. Okay, Hans S. Okay, good question. Cargos and I actually have a streaming schedule set up. We only try to have about a half-hour overlap so that we can continuously have him stream and then me stream. I think he started a little bit late today, but I'm starting at the same time, so that is why we do it. We have only usually about a half-hour overlap so that people can go right from watching him and then me. Hopefully that's how it's supposed to work, Hans. What's up, Ruben Deco? How you doing, brother? All right, let's try to get Atticus back in here, and hopefully everything doesn't go down south again. All right. You ready, Atticus? Let's try to get you in here again. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Please don't everything die on me.
Here I am.
Here we are. Dude, I have no idea what the hell happened. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That was a little ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think what happened was, for some reason, when I added you to the call, my internet just shit the bed. So.
Yeah, it's all good. It happens.
Yeah. So, okay. The Come On Die guy from Mogwai. Starman. Every time I hear the music, I get the chills. That's the point, baby. Alright, Atticus, dude. Let's talk some fucking leveling, baby. So if you guys weren't here, what was it, on Saturday or Sunday, we did a Molten Core deep dive. We showed Atticus's video. And dude, I just gotta say, amazing job on that video. Like, it was your first WoW video, if I'm not correct, right?
Yes, sir.
Your very first WoW video.
Well, I guess I kind of lied. First one I've done like that, but like back during Wrath of the Lich King, I had a video of me and my fives team when we were over 2,500 on YouTube, but that thing's been like gone forever.
Oh, well, still, that's pretty. I mean, I think the highest I got was in the Burning Crusade, around 25, 20. I don't remember, but it was pretty decent at the time. I was playing Disc Priest. So in your video, actually, what we can do is, I want to pull it up right now, actually. So let's pull that up. In your video, why can't I find it now? No one ever talks about the fact that when you tag a mob and you hit that mob and it goes away, it literally will follow you further. And like, I don't know why no one talks about that, but it's one of the, I think
it's definitely, one of the most important things. Like, especially, like, I guess I forgot to mention it in the video, but yeah, I mean, you have to, like, those are some of the key things that actually like help you not waste time when you're leveling, because if you don't know that, you're going to end up dying a few times.
Exactly.
And then having to run back a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for the welcome, everybody, by the way. How you doing, Pharaoh?
Pharaoh in the house. Can you link me that video again in my Discord, your video? I don't know why I can't find it right now. Because there's something I wanted to point out during the video. But another thing, like, so when I'm leveling my priest, I like to, I mean, a lot of people talk about, going wand and then going improved life or life tap and all that kind of thing. I think for me, and I'll show you guys what I'll do right here is I'll bring up a talent calculator for a sec.
I just put the video. It says, "Oops, remove web address and try again." When I tried to link it in your
send it to me on Discord. Send it to me on Discord. Yeah.
Real quick.
All right. So my main thing, guys. Okay, so we'll talk about for priest, right? First thing for priest is a lot of people say to go spear tap, wand specialization, back and forth. And honestly, when it comes to leveling as a priest, your most important thing at the start is your wand. Get that wand at level 5. And honestly, as soon as you hit 10, go ahead and put 5 points in the wand specialization first thing. From 10 to 15, whatever it is, put 5 points in there. Honestly, I think you don't even get the benefit from spear tap until you actually start having more mana. I think like when you get higher level, it becomes way more important to have spear tap. For those first 5 levels, I would go wand specialization. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've seen. I mean, I tooled around with it a little bit, and I definitely agree that like the wand specialization is by far the first thing you should get. I mean, you're never gonna like not use wands while you're leveling until you go get shadow form, which is
exactly, yeah. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people say with priests, right? And I've watched, and guys, this is like my opinion. This is what I like to do. But a lot of people like say with priests is like, oh, when you get mind flay, use mind flay doesn't even become that good until you get shadow form. In my opinion, like it just hits like a wet noodle. It hits so shitty until you actually get shadow form. I mean, that's my opinion. That's what I like to do. I personally like to just, open up with a Mind Blast, put Shadow Word Paint on. So, like, my leveling spec would look something like this for Priest, guys. 5 points, 5 points into Wand Specialization, 5 points into Spear Tap. Next thing you want to do is get Improved Shadow Word Paint. Put 3 points into Shadow Focus, 1 point into Mind Flay. Now, the thing is, guys, like, honestly, you're not even gonna be using Mind Flay that much at this point. Like, you've leveled a priest before, right, Atticus? I think you said.
Not all the way to max.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
yeah, max in a different expansion, but it was before they did all the crazy stuff with talents. So yeah, pretty much same thing.
Let me hear you guys in here who have played priest. What's up, Leonard? Gesh, how you doing, brother? Anyone? Oh yeah, buy one from an enchanter. So your lesser magic one guys, you can get a level 5, and people will be making them usually like crazy by the time the launch of the servers happens. So you can get a lesser magic wand very easily from an enchanter at level 5. But the thing is, so a lot of people will, put 2 points into Proof Shadow Word Pain, 3 in Shadow Focus, and then get Mind Flay right away. But the thing is, I find I never use Mind Flay when I first get it, right? What I do is, and I like to front load my damage, so I'll use a Mind Blast, I'll put Shadow Word Pain on the target, and I will literally just sit there and wand them to death from there. Like, for me, I feel like Mind Flay does nowhere near as much damage as wanding does. What do you guys think about that? Farrer, you've played a priest. I've capped a priest. Yeah,
From
so.
from what I remember, it was wand was like way better. Even like later on, like in BC, it was like, and
Hmm.
I think even in Wrath, like when you were leveling, I remember getting Mind Flay because it was like one of the first times I played a priest, and I was like, oh yeah, finally Mind Flay, time to melt some
I
faces. And I
know.
was like, wait, what's going on?
It's like literally a wet noodle, dude. It feels so bad. Yup, wand is amazing. So like yeah, I agree with that. I remember wanding all the way to 50. So honestly, I think you get more benefit by putting another point in shadow focus or in even going down to improve psychic scream and then maybe get like mind flay a little bit later. And another thing that I think is really cool about priest, and maybe this is something you can talk about warrior too. So okay, I use psychic scream a lot, especially when there's no other mobs around that I have to worry about pulling.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Dude, I think it's so good. So the thing about priest is right, like you know, is you have to worry about pushback, but you don't have to worry about pushback when using wand. You don't have to worry about it at all, right? Because you're getting no pushback when wanding. And if you need to cast something, I feel like fear. If you use rank 1 fear, right? Which I think at rank 1 fears 2 targets, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2. So if you only need to fear 1 mob, it's like literally less than 100 mana. If you won't have any pushback, and bubble is so much shadow word, the shield is so much more mana intensive than a rank 1 psychic stream is. So that's like a little trick that I like to do to conserve
Yeah,
mana.
rank one is
Dude,
2,
rank
and
1
then it
psychic stream.
increases by 1 each time.
And that's the thing, like if you want to say you pull 2 mobs, right?
Hmm.
And you're getting hit by them, and the other thing is, right, you got to make sure like there's not a lot of mobs around. A lot of people like will over utilize your shield, because the thing is, like, dude, when spirit tap kicks in, a lot of that health that you lost, you're gonna just regen right away when spirit tap kicks in. Like, it doesn't really matter. The only thing you're really using your shield for is to not get that pushback, and well, to not die if you're gonna be getting hit that bad. But I think in the right scenario, psychic stream and of course inner fire, you already have a huge benefit from inner fire. So I always say, like, make sure you keep your inner fire up, because that is a shit ton of armor, and like you really don't need to use your bubble that often as a priest, because it is very mana intensive.
Hmm.
So I think that's a neat little thing that I do. So then after that, at this point, you have 5 points in shadow focus, you have 2 points in improved psychic stream, 1 point in a mind flay. I would go right down to shadow weaving, get your 5 points there. So the thing is here at this point, like, you're level 34, right? So you have 5 points in shadow focus. So now you can even start, like, mind flay becomes a little bit better, because every time you use your mind flay, you're getting the shadow weaving bonus in there. So it can potentially do more damage. But another really cool thing is, and I think this is going to work in classic, I hope it is, I mean it should, is if you have a shadow wand, right, it benefits from shadow weaving. So a shadow magic wand will do 15% more damage with 5 stacks of shadow weaving up. How awesome is that? I think that's like so cool.
Hmm.
So and a lot of the really good wands that you get while leveling are shadow. So right there, I think that's like huge. And then I honestly don't put any points in improved mind blast, because you're not going to be using that like on cooldown. I basically only pull with either mind blast or Holy Fire, depending on which one's doing more damage at that time.
Yeah, and it has a longer cast too, doesn't it? Like
Yeah, it does. Well,
or something.
it's not that long of a cast. The thing is, it's very mana intensive.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, so I will pull. So what Farrah says, if I was doing a big pull, I'd bubble, then drink up, then pull. So yeah, that's another thing. If like you can bubble before the pull, or put your dots up, and then if you're gonna use a Mind Blast, whatever, because that way you're getting no pushback. But I feel like a lot of the times when when you could be using something like Psychic Stream that's a lot less mana intensive. I don't know. It's like for me, with a warrior, you don't have to worry about a lot of those things because
yeah,
you're
infinite
range.
resources.
Right? Yeah, screw you guys. So Shadow Reach you don't need. I would get Silence for right before Vampiric Embrace personally because Silence is just so good. But Vampiric Embrace is amazing as well. And the thing about this is, like 20% of all the shadow damage you do comes back as healing, which is amazing. That with Spirit Tap, I mean, you will not have to worry about really going out of shadow form to heal much at all. You can also consider going Inner Focus and Meditation before 40. That's a really good point as well. One Willie, I personally, so Inner Focus is great. It's a 3-minute cooldown, but I think I usually used it with Devouring Plague. Like I always says, Devouring Plague is an undead, it's a 3-minute cooldown. So that's what I usually do it with. But then I put a couple points in Blackout, 1, 2, 3, because Blackout is fucking amazing. 5 in Darkness, and then, oops, I'm sorry. At level 40, I respec, lose Wand Specialization, and then go down into Full Shadow, so it looks something like this. Go down into Full Shadow, you can, wherever you want to do.
You're saying go.
I respec at level 4 because so at level 40, I respec because I want to get Shadow Form as quick as possible because the damage increase from Shadow Form is just so good. And look, it's 1 gold, right? If you have the gold to spare, it's 1 gold. You should have plenty after buying your mount. Hopefully, go ahead and get the points. So this is what you should look like at level 40 after respecing. Is something like this. And honestly, your wanding is going to be doing a little less damage, but then just start putting points back in wanding there as you level. Because now Mind Flay will be doing a lot more damage, and all your shadow damage is 15% increase. So I think at level 40, that's what I usually do. You don't necessarily have to, but I think for warriors, right, you guys do a swap at level 40 as well, or you can, right?
Yeah, if you go Fury, then you definitely want to swap over and get Mortal Strike. I don't think that there's any other way to do it. I don't think it's very beneficial to be using Bloodthirst at 40. I've never done it.
Gotcha.
But to touch on what Jake just asked, he said if you're leveling with a partner, do you put more emphasis on wanting to conserve mana or healing or shielding your partner or just DPS as usual? So in my experience, when I'm leveling with anyone who's a healer, all he has to do is just get me topped off before he has to drink.
Yes.
And then I can sit there and just fight the mobs while he gets his mana back up. So I don't think that you really need to worry about conserving mana in that situation. I think it's just keep them topped off and then drink when you need to when you get out of combat.
See, what I really like about Warrior Shadow Priest leveling as well is Vampiric Embrace, right? So if we're in a group, and I was doing this with my brother when he was a lower level, when we were playing Shadow Priest and he was playing Warrior. Mm-hmm. My Vampiric Embrace was healing him so much, right? Because he's taking all the damage, and all 20% of my healing is going to him. And the thing is, after we'd be done, so he'd be at 70% health, but his spirit regen is so high as a warrior anyway, so by the time of the next pull, he was almost at max health. So if anything, right, and especially before level 40 when you're not in shadow form, just throwing a renew on him is all you really need to do.
Yeah, and like I said in my video, you get your spirit so high that you get to the point where you're almost healing at the same rate as if you were eating when you're outside of combat.
Yes, and honestly, dude, I think out of all classes, priests and warriors probably benefit from spirit more than anyone else, especially while leveling.
Oh yeah,
because
Jesper, respecking, it's interesting cost. As you were saying, it's every time that you respec, it costs more the next time.
Yeah, so it goes 1 gold to 5 gold. I think if I remember this how it goes, or is it 1 gold to 2 gold?
I think it's 1 gold to 2.
1 to 2 to 5, so it doubles, right? It goes 1
essentially
to 2, kind of doubles. Yeah, to 5 to 10
No, then it goes up in increments of 5 from that point. Then it goes 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40,
Oh, okay,
45,
okay.
50.
I thought
Yeah,
it went
but
double.
it caps at 50. It
Right.
does cap at 50.
Yeah,
so.
on private servers it caps at 25, which is not how it's going to be in Classic. If they are going to do it the way it was in Vanilla it capped at 50 gold. What's up,
By the way,
Timulgin? How you
everyone-
doing, brother? What's
Everybody
that?
watching, I'm also streaming on Twitch right now. It's just twitch.tv/Atacas.
Oh yeah,
and,
let me go
my
ahead
YouTube
and
channel as well.
let me go ahead and link that for you guys.
Yeah. And then my YouTube channel as well. If y'all want to throw me a sub, I'm going to be putting out more videos soon. Like I'm definitely the next one I'm working on is the same kind of guide but for rogues, because that's where my second most experience lies. I might get into casters in the future, but I'll definitely be like pulling in the help from like Melderon and other people, because that is not my forte by any means.
Dude, so rogues are my very first class that I ever played, and I feel like for me it's kind of like riding a bike. Like I literally feel like I can go play a rogue and it be almost like I didn't go a day without playing. Like I don't know what it is about rogues. I love them so much. They're pretty easy to level. I mean, honestly, like I think there isn't much that you have like combat sword spec is pretty simple, right? For me at least.
Someone's saying that your Twitch stream's not working.
Oh really? Huh.
Yeah. And the reason why they would make it cap at 25 on private servers is, I mean, I guess their logic behind it is probably just that they realize that this is not like the serious game and that you're just more so trying to get more out of your gameplay. So it would make sense for them to tune it down a little bit just so people have a tiny bit of an easier time playing. Like
Yeah.
on retail, you know, it's unforgiving, but like on private servers, they got to give you some kind of incentive to stick around a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah. Very true. And you know, I mean, like, look at it like this, guys. You know, if you're gonna be like for respecking, right? If you respec once at level 40, right? You buy your mount. It's not that big of a deal. 1 gold. You really won't have to respec again until you have hit level 60, unless you screw up like big time. But you know, there won't be dual spec. I feel you really in vanilla. You know what you do to your class, like you kind of. It's like set in concrete a lot of the time. So the choices you make are very important in vanilla WoW, right? If you decide to, you know, level as a disc priest or level as something different, like it's, you know, you have to pay gold to try it again. But the thing is that's awesome about priest in my experience, right? Even while dual leveling, the amount of healing you can do with Vampiric Embrace, the amount of healing you can do even though you're shadow, because you are a priest, like you have so many ways to heal, so many ways to absorb damage with your bubble. You have hots. Even like during every dungeon I ever did, I never felt I had to respec. I did every dungeon as shadow and healed it completely fine. I mean, you could probably attest to that, Atticus. Like if you've with other priests, yeah.
Yeah, and then as far as like leveling with a warrior as well, like I never go prot, I never go fury. Like I know that some people say that leveling as fury is faster until 40, but like that may be the case if you're like new to it. But when even if I know how to play fury, but the like level of like fluidity that I have with arms and like how I know, like it's like a muscle memory for like an internal clock for pressing abilities and knowing when I'm gonna have enough rage to do stuff like that. For arms, it just functions way better for me. And I just feel like I go much faster. But also, yeah, you don't have to like respec to be tank in leveling dungeons.
Yep.
You can tank, and I think that you can even do that at max level. I haven't tested it myself. But
I mean, absolutely. I mean,
man.
I mean, a lot of tanks will go like a fury spec because the amount of threat you can put out is just so much more than a protection spec. And as long as you have the gear, you know, to back up and the healers to back that up, you should be fine. So, you know, but, you know, some people like leveling as prot. I think so. Let's talk about leveling as a warrior real quick, right? I know absolutely nothing about it. I mean, I know from what I've watched your video about, I know from what I've watched people like Cargos, let's just say I'm interested in playing a warrior, right? I've never played a warrior in Classic WoW. What is my first, like, so right now I have the talent tree up. What are my first, where do I go first?
I'm going to be doing this on my screen as well, so y'all can all follow along wherever you're watching from. But, okay, so very first thing you do, because at low levels, Heroic Strike, I mean, yeah, it increases your damage, but you can't think of a Heroic Strike as just costing 15 rage. So you have to think of Heroic Strike as costing you 25 rage, because when you're using heroic strike, it's replacing an auto attack where most of your rage comes from. So you get like 10, 15 rage based on it. So you're missing an entire auto attack and you're spending 15 rage. So you don't really use heroic strike unless you get over like 40 to 50 rage. So obviously the first thing you want to do is go improved Rend, because that only costs 10 rage. It doesn't affect your auto attacks, and it's just going to straight up increase your damage, and you need it later on for deep wounds. So there's like a triple whammy there for why it's good. Then you go 2 points in deflection, because you don't get improved heroic strike. It's not worth.
Right.
And then some people go improved charge, but I don't feel like it's necessary. It's only 5 rage extra, and you need tactical mastery maxed out to be able to hit all of your like main abilities. Like the main reason for switching stances later on is to have, you know, to press like intimidating shout. I mean, well, no, you don't need it for that, but you know, like to disarm somebody, or to switch and use a whirlwind real quick, or to have enough rage to overpower. So you could go 2 points in improved charge and then 3 points in tactical mastery, but in my opinion, you just go 5 points tactical mastery.
I mean, that sounds so good to me. And I've played Druid before. Being able to have rage when you go in and out of form or in this case stances is huge. Like having no rage when you go into berserker stance and not being able to intercept, it's like standing there with your dick in your hand. Like, oh, what do I do? Like you need rage to do anything as a warrior. So I think that's important.
Especially in like PvP situations as well. Like when again in classic, you know, you don't have resilience, and obviously you wouldn't when you're leveling in any part of the game, but you don't have resilience or anything, so damage can be very, very spiky, and it's like a chess match against almost every single person you're playing against. And if you don't have enough rage when you switch stances to use one of your key abilities that is going to definitively turn the tides of the battle, then you're essentially allowing them to get an extra turn on the chessboard. So that's another reason why you need tactical mastery.
Yeah, I think that's huge right there. So let me just, before we go on further, so this is an arms leveling spec, right?
Yes.
So is this good for PvP servers as well? So, like, if you're going to be doing a lot of PvP, would you say this is a good spec for that as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
This is essentially the exact way that you spec for PvP at max level.
Oh, okay.
It's slightly different in, like, kind of by choice. It depends on when you get down to, like, improved hamstring and then what weapons you go with and whatnot.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, I mean, this is essentially exactly what you use for max level PvP.
Gotcha. What's up, Ion? All right, so let's continue going. So this is really exciting.
Okay.
I really like this. Yeah.
So next one is going to be anger management, just because this is going to help with your rage increase, obviously, and it's just 1 point, so you might as well knock it out of the way. That way you're getting, because like if you were to go like improved overpower here or go start putting points in deep wounds, then you start to run into the problem of like, well, I just like it's still effective and in the long run it's good, but putting 1 point in anger management is essentially the same percentage effect as putting 2 points in overpower or 3 points in deep wound.
Oh, okay.
So you go 1 point in anger management, and then I go with deep wounds next,
right? Because
I go ahead and max that out completely.
Okay.
Because you know, if you do get a crit, crits are more common than, well, no, I wouldn't say than more common, but I feel like deep wounds is more effective in the long run than getting overpower right away, because overpower is only available when you dodge, but crits can happen all the time.
And that's the thing is, like you talked about in your video, agility being very important for warriors. So this goes really good with that as well. With having that agility. So I just want to read this again. Anger management, guys, what it does increases the time required for your rage to decay while out of combat by 30%. So that is huge while leveling to have less rage decay. And then deep wounds, your critical strikes cause the opponent to bleed, dealing 60% of your melee weapons average damage over 12 seconds. That's huge, dude. I mean, that's like
huge. And then if you've got Rend and deep wounds on there at the same time, and then, I mean, we could talk all day about the other little intricate effects, but I mean, say you've got some druid that's ran by and giving you thorns, and you're just like basically melting these people just with dot damage.
Wow. Pretty good. So that's like really good against especially rogues that have no way, like, unless they're a dwarf, to get out of, to get rid of the bleeds. And I mean, one of the most dangerous things about warriors is their bleeds. It's just crazy.
Yeah, to touch on the rogue thing real quick, I could talk about this all damn day. I love destroying rogues in vanilla. But the main thing before your hamstring when you are fighting a rogue, if he tries to gank you, is get your rend on him. I don't
Yes.
care
Yep.
what you're doing. Put your rend on him so that dude cannot sit there and back out and re-stealth.
Yes, that is literally the epitome of like. And another thing that I've noticed, like, so I being a rogue have dueled many warriors, and I feel like a bad warrior, I'm able to crippling kite them. So basically, is what I do is I would put crippling poison on them, put my bleeds on them, and basically back away from them in their dead zone where they can't charge me or attack me, and then re-stealth. But all they have to do as a warrior is piercing howl to keep you in combat.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And also, demoralizing shout knocks rogues out of stealth
Right. So demoralizing shout.
if they're near you.
If they're
so
near
like
you.
if you and
What's
they're
the
stealth,
range
you
on
can
that?
just throw that up. It's like I think you can increase it with booming voice. Yeah, but it's not like huge. I think it's about 7 yards, 8 yards maybe. But touch on these questions real quick
Yeah.
in YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh,
We
and
just talked, Ion. We're just starting talking about arms first. We're gonna go over Fury next. Yes, anger management. That was something I was gonna bring up. It's also a hidden tooltip. It doesn't say it on there, but anger management also makes you generate 1 rage per 3 seconds while you're in combat.
oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So the best screens, yes, while you're leveling, would probably be spirit agility, of the wolf. But that doesn't mean that's like the only thing you want to stack, obviously,
Right.
because you need stamina and whatnot. But as far as like your strength goes, you can't avoid it. Like you're never going to be able to not get strength stuff. But like your damage is mainly increased by your weapon. You could have no additional strength and have just a crap ton of agility and spirit, and you'd probably be leveling at the same speed or killing things at the same speed as someone who purely stacks strength.
Such a great point, dude. I love that you talked on that. Like I before, and especially when I leveled like a warrior or even my enhancement shaman, I'm like, oh, I need strength. I need strength. And Melron all the time is like, dude, when you put the equation to how much attack power equals DPS, look at the DPS first. Like, a weapon that does say 42 DPS and has like 32 attack power on it is not as good as a weapon that does 46 DPS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the DPS is the most important thing. Your weapon damage is the most important thing. And I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of people get too fed up into looking at your strength. Oh, I gotta stack strength. Gotta stack strength. Like that's my damage.
Yes.
Dude, it's all
And
about your
another thing-
weapon, man.
It may be basic, but a lot of people just don't know that you do want the slowest two-hander that you can possibly get. I mean, if there were a 6-second weapon speed two-hander, I would be getting that hands down every single time. Because when
Yeah.
you do crit with a slow weapon, it crits really hard.
Really hard, dude. Really hard. And so another thing I want to say is I want to ask you, Atticus, is okay. So spirit is really important as a warrior, right? So I seem to think it in this way. Like so Temuljan asked, was it Temuljan who said greens are leveling as a warrior are agility and spirit. So would it be better though to say have like agility strength gear on and then as soon as you're done combat switch on some spirit gear? Or is
Yeah,
that kind of
definitely.
like okay? So like
Yeah.
in my idea, and this is again, it might be harder to do this for like every slot of gear, and depending on while leveling how much gear you can get. But like my ideal scenario would be to have strength agility gear or gear that doesn't necessarily have spirit on it while I'm attacking the mob, but as soon as I get out of combat to switch on that spirit gear and to regen while I'm
Yeah.
out of combat.
And see, this is what you have to think about, and at the same time as that. Now, when I'm trying to do this, you're trying to maximize your time playing and your gold accumulated.
Right.
But if you don't, like, if you carry around 2 separate sets of gear, you've got to take that into consideration as far as how much stuff you can carry in your bags. Because when
Yes.
you're leveling, your bag space is going to be pretty limited. So if you've got 6 other pieces of gear in your bags, that could be essentially 6 stacks of grays that are selling for 20 silver each.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you gotta just think about it. I mean, like, you could do it. It would definitely improve your time because you're gonna be killing stuff faster with the agility strength stuff on of the tiger, but then you could throw on just stuff that's got tons of spirit in between combat. But see, most of the time as well with that, a lot of spirit gear isn't male, and I have anxiety, and I am worried about wearing stuff that is not male when I'm just running around
makes
and a
a
rogue
huge
could
difference.
pop out of somewhere.
It does, dude. Like, so my shaman is just at the point now where he's going from leather to male at level 40, And it is such a huge difference from wearing leather than mail, dude. Like, the survivability of that armor is huge when you're fighting a rogue, a warrior, any melee class. It is, like, unbelievable. And a lot of times at that level 40, sometimes you might have to look at the armor. So if a gear has less strength, less stam, but has way more armor, you got to take that into consideration as well.
Oh yeah, that's why tortoise armor is so good, dude. Like tortoise armor has like double the armor for a chest piece at that level. It's absurd.
That's crazy. Crazy. So let's continue on. So we're right now. It looks like we're gonna have to backpedal and put some more points somewhere, right?
Yeah, we just go 1 and improved over power here, and then we come back and finish that in a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I'm guessing. Okay, these both look really good. These next two-handed specialization or impale.
Yeah. So here's the thing with two-handed weapon specialization. Two-handed weapon specialization is obviously good,
right?
But it's not necessary to max it out, and that sounds crazy, but there's just other talents that drastically increase your damage and your utility better than having an extra 2% to weapon damage. Because I mean, think about it. Even if you're hitting someone for 1,000 damage, that's only an extra 20 damage.
Right. Yeah.
So you go 2 and impale here because increasing the critical strike damage bonus of your abilities is ridiculous.
Huge.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And then you go 3 and two-handed weapon specialization.
Okay.
And then this opens up your next tree, and you get sweeping strikes. This is where you can actually start pulling more than one mob, especially if you've kept up with your gear and whatnot, and you have some decent like stamina and armor and whatnot. Then start pulling like at least 2 at a time. And here's something that's kind of like it's kind of basic, but it's kind of not. When you've got sweeping strikes up and you press cleave, it cleaves, and then you proc one of your sweeping strikes off of the original mob you hit, so it hits the other mob twice once from the first hit, and then the cleave hits the mob next to it, and it procs the sweeping strikes off of that hit as well.
Oh shit!
So it bounces back.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it functions like that in vanilla. I could be mistaken. I've played in every damn expansion, so
I know. It's hard to remember some of the technical stuff. Yeah. But so essentially, your next 5 melee attacks strike an additional nearby opponent. So, and what's the cooldown on that?
That I think the cooldown is, I can't remember. I think it's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's not that.
Or maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
I wish it told you the tooltip of how long the cooldown was, but.
I can look it up actually.
So I mean, either way, it's as a rogue, it's a 2-minute cooldown for a rogue, and it's called Blade Flurry. But while Blade Flurry is up, every attack that you're doing on the target that you're on will hit an additional target. So that is I mean, when you use Blade Flurry and Adrenaline Rush at the same time on 2 mobs,
30-second cooldown.
30 second? Okay, that is really good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
I don't remember when they increased it to 5 or whatever, but yeah. All my shit's getting confused. Anyway, next one you go on to is you go 5 points in axe specialization, because you're probably going to be using axes. If you got the whirlwind axe, that thing's going to last you forever. It's well worth just keeping it. And I mean, the crit, you want axes, you want to be trying to get axes.
Does that go for Alliance and Horde? Even though the Alliance, if you're a human, okay, so even though you're a human and you get mace and plus sword, it's still better to use that axe because crit is just so important for warriors, right? That's why orc warriors are so good.
Yeah, and see, this is just where it comes down to preference though, because you don't have to play with axe specialization. A 10 out of 10 would recommend, but this is especially in PvP, if you want to potentially get a Hand of Justice proc, a sword specialization proc, and a freaking Wind Fury proc at the same time, then you can go sword specialization, and that's fun. But as far as overall highest chance of burst capability, you go with axe specialization. And then also, maces are good, especially if you get the unstoppable force, because it already has a mace proc on it. So
those are cool. They're cool, but dude, 5% crit is huge. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. I mean, and when you think about, on top of that, being an orc already getting that increased, damage and chance to hit crit, whatever, with that points, which is pretty good. It's just putting those two together as an orc warrior is just so damn good. Oh my god.
And Bispod, to talk about weapon speed, the weapon damage numbers are what matter, but like I've tested them both. Like I've gone and got Whirlwind Sword, which is like the fastest one, and then tried it like side by side on a different server with Whirlwind Axe, and like the difference in damage is astronomical. Like you feel like you're hitting people with a freaking paper towel roll with the sword. That's
Yeah.
that fast.
Wow.
But I mean, I could be wrong. It's just what I've experienced. But as
And it
far as
all,
I know,
everything that matters too, right, is time of engagement, right? So like in a PvP encounter, you might be getting feared, you might be getting, stunned. So those hits, when you do hit, matter so much more.
hmm
And the thing is, like, that's why top end damage is so good. Like, time of encounter is everything. So if you're able to just sit there and hit the target nonstop with nothing happening, then yeah, they might come closer together. But when you're on a PvP realm and you have to look at things like other things happening, the time of engagement that you do have when you're hitting makes those things like using a high end damage speed and using axe specialization, all those things so much more important. That's what
touch on.
I've noticed so much more with my shaman, dude. Like,
Yeah, let me
you
keep
know,
going through some chat stuff here. One guy, a
yeah.
friend of mine in my stream said, "I'll never forget the time I got a sword spec and seal of justice, or what is it? What? And another sword spec proc at the same time in a matter of like 5 seconds." The guy
Oh,
just
dude, it's
exploded.
so nice. I've had that happen
Yeah,
on my
beautiful.
rogue as well. So
And then new media, yes. Okay, so it's kind of like a thing. This is where that like you get that kind of muscle memory and kind of like this is where the experience comes into play, and you'll figure it out as you play. It's not that hard to determine, but yeah, the rule of thumb is to look around 50, like 50 to 40 rage, but you've also got to take into consideration like, all right, am I gonna need to hoard this rage for the next combat or the next like little fight, or can I just go ahead and blow as much rage as I want in this fight?
mm,
So you just got to be like thinking like 2 or 3 steps ahead. That's kind of the whole thing with warriors. The whole time you're leveling is thinking
always think
about
ahead.
things
Yeah,
way in ahead.
that's a good
And
point.
then
Like, is somebody else going to pull, or can you pull another target at this time? But Peter Sean is a good question. So where do you even farm as a warrior for money? That's a pretty good question. So
if you're talking about max level, then yeah, Eastern Plaguelands, there's tons of bats out there and whatnot that have like just that drop like grays and just tons of stuff that just actually sell for a lot. But for like for your mount, there's like can't even remember the horde one, but I know that for like Alliance, if you just run like a what is it? Not Mental Harbor, the place that's right under
Theramore?
Ratchet.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Theramore,
Uh-huh.
Theramore. So if you go out of Theramore and turn right and just run up the beach, there's tons of like yellow turtles that are around like level 34 to 36, I think. And the grays they drop sell for a lot, like a ton. And then if
Oh,
you've got skinning on top of that, then you're just getting leather from them as well. And so that's and because they're yellow, you don't have to worry about pulling too many. But then there's camps of murlocs as well. If you're good at like the whirlwind sweeping strikes, all that crap, you
right.
can get a little ballsy if you want with the camps of murlocs. But that's a good place to farm up for your mount.
That is so. And another thing I've noticed with like classes like warriors and rogues. So on my rogue, yeah, I can't do the DM farm. I can't do a lot of things that I do like on my mage and my priest, where you can go into dungeons and just get a whole bunch of those items and sell them. But mages and rogues and warriors are really good, in PvP, especially if you're geared as a warrior, and you have PvP gear. You can usually kill people pretty quick. So I found that like a lot of those spots where people farm for fire elementals, for elemental fire to make protection potions, or elemental earth, things like that, that warriors tend to be pretty good in those spots because they're just so good at charging someone and killing them in like 2-3 hits. So I found a
hmm
lot of those PvP spots where either you're farming for say Folcloth, for say elemental fire, things like that. The warriors can tend to have a pretty. I mean, mages again probably will have the upper hand because they can just kill everything so quickly and kill you from far away. But rogues and warriors can do pretty good in those spots as well. So that's what I would recommend, to maybe hit some of those places.
Yep. So moving on with the tree. So this is where my opinion comes into it.
Okay,
But
cool.
if I'm wrong here, then you guys can go with what you want.
Just don't
But
kill him if he's wrong, guys.
yeah, yeah. So what I do is I go 3 points in improved hamstring here because I like to be able to root people when I like, especially a mage. Like if you're fighting a mage out in the world, being able to root them is huge. Because speaking on mages, by the way, do not ever intercept a mage unless he has blinked. Don't do it.
Oh, great point, dude. So what I love doing as a warrior, like as more seeing as a warrior, right, is you charge a mage, he blinks, and then right away intercept.
Yeah. Then
Right?
he's just like, well, Pope. I mean, he can still slow you down and like get
and
away, but
or he would
even-
like a lot of times mages at that point ice block because they're like, oh fuck, what do I do? You know, what's up,
yeah,
big worm? How you doing, brother? But yeah, so that is a great point. Don't intercept unless they already like. And another thing with my rogue that I noticed, like I don't stun them or kidney them unless they blink. So like a great point for a rogue is, you know, as soon as they blink, you know, if you have improved sprint or whatever, you know, then, you know, use your stun because they can't move at that point. The only defensive thing they could do at that point would freeze you if they have their freeze up or use an ice block. So yeah, great point. Now, now I'm wondering here. Yoda is so much lower. I love it. I'm wondering here. Why didn't you go two-handed spec? Well, obviously you said why improve hamstring, but
this is where you can play with the
kind of
talents
play
a
with
little bit.
it. So yeah,
if you want just a little bit more damage, then just put one in improved hamstring and then finish filling out two-handed weapon specialization.
okay,
But I just prefer to just know that I'm going to get a higher chance of rooting them.
gotcha.
So that's why I go with 3 in hamstring. And then with the final point, you could do the same thing. If you went 3 in improved hamstring, you could put 1 into. Well, actually, no, I take that back. No, you put it in improved overpower.
Improved overpower. Okay.
Yeah, because that's another 25% chance to crit. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I forgot. Sorry. Always max out overpower. But yeah, then at that point you're down to mortal strike. You get mortal strike, and then when you go over into fury, first thing you max out is cruelty because 5% more crit, obviously.
Huge. Yep.
And then the second trait, a lot of people think that getting unbridled wrath is good, but no. Unbridled Wrath is literal dog shit.
Unbridled Wrath gives you 8% chance, so I'm guessing stacks up to what?
40%.
Generate an additional rage point when you deal melee damage with WoW. So that's
It's
just
only
one rage point. Right.
One rage point, and it's a 40% chance. I mean,
that's
so what? You get a less than 50% chance to get 1 point of rage every 3.6 seconds. No, thank you. So. Booming voice, you go with that just because it makes your duration of battle shout. Yep, makes the duration of it longer. And then from that point, go to Blood Craze because Blood Craze is the jam. And then you go, well, Piercing Howl before Blood Craze. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, Piercing Howl. That's something I was looking at. Piercing Howl. I'm like, I love that so much. It's so good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one first. Then you do the 3 points in Blood Craze. Then you get 1 point in Improved Battle Shout.
1 point in Improved Battle Shout.
Yeah, just one. And then.
Okay,
of course, max out in rage by the time you hit 60.
All right, so that is not only a great leveling spec, but a great endgame PvP spec as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's like exactly as you spec for PvP endgame. Like, there's no other option in my opinion.
It looks beautiful, honestly. Like this spec. So, and this is a thing that I've noticed that I look at a lot of times, and I'm like, oh, I got to get that. I look at things such as two-handed weapon specialization, or I'll even say, I'll talk about a druid for a sec, and I look at things and I'm like, oh, it's got to be good, but because it increases straight damage, so that means it must be good. But when you like look at things and you look at how much better other talents could be in certain situations, you really have to weigh those options, right? Because okay, so let's look at something that I look at a lot as a druid, because I wanted to level as a tanking druid. Right, and a lot of the issues that I have, so I would go in ferocity, and right here, like thick hide, right, increases your armor constitution by items. Like my head thinks that, oh my god, that is the most important thing if I'm going to be tanking, right? I have to get that. But honestly, feral instinct, that amount of threat that you do is just so much better. And when you look at things like increases your armor contribution from items at that level, you know, that much armor contribution doesn't do that much of a difference. Same thing with warrior here. I feel like 2% is not that huge of a difference when you put into other things in consideration, like, you know, having improved crit, having you know, certain situational things that can help. So a lot of times you have to weigh your options, and a lot of times you look at certain talents and they really make you think that, like, oh, this has got to be really good because, you know, it has in here a straight damage increase, or, you know, chance to do this more, and it sounds better. But a lot of times it tricks you up into thinking, like, wait a minute, there could be other things that are a lot better. So it's really good to think about that. Yeah.
They want to know. Okay, so yeah, I think that's Melderon on your account asking me to go over Fury, but yeah,
yeah, I want to hear Fury too. So yeah.
Yeah. So and Jay Oblivion, we were in the arms tree because this is what I prefer for leveling. A lot of the higher end warriors that I've heard from agree on this point, but we just think that arms is just better for leveling overall. And no matter what, when you hit 40, you want to switch to Mortal Strike because the damage is always going to be better. But now we're going to go over Fury for leveling.
Okay.
So you start off with Fury leveling exactly the same way as you did when you're starting to max it out at 40 from arms.
So
you just go, yep,
right?
5 in cruelty, 5 in booming voice, and then piercing howl. And then you go blood craze and improve battle shout. Then you, of course, go straight to the enrage.
How many points in improved battle shout? 5?
Just one.
Just one. Right. Okay. Yeah.
But see, this is the thing as well. Don't dual wield leveling as a warrior because yes, if you have on Alliance, if I end up getting a cruel barb, then the amount of times that I miss versus the amount of damage that I'm doing at level 19 with a cruel barb, it's still like a little bit better whenever you're, dual wielding as opposed to using a two-hander. Just depends on the two-hander you have at the time. But I mean, ideally you'd rather have a Smite's Mighty Reaver and be using that. So
true.
It's just, and the reason why is because your hit rating is complete trash when you're leveling.
That's so true. So, and it's also 5 points that you would have to put into where you could put in other places, and you still do great damage with a two-hander, right?
Yeah. I mean, two-handed damage is just always going to be better, especially I like arms because of the stuff you get from crits, and it just makes your crits more valuable when you have a two-hander.
Yeah.
But so moving on from there, you obviously grab Death Wish immediately next.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then this is again a part where you can kind of play around a little bit. There's different things to go here. I would never go with the improved slam because slam is just garbage. Don't use it.
Right.
If you are able to keep pulling things a lot, then you can go into improved cleave. But the best part that I think to do here is just to go ahead and finish maxing out battle shout.
Okay.
So then that opens up flurry. Obviously flurry is amazing.
So good.
You want flurry, and then you get bloodthirst.
Bloodthirst, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you just start filling out arms the same way that you did before, which is 3 in rend, 2 in deflection, 5 in tactical mastery. Then you go deep wounds, 1 in anger management, and then instead of doing 1 in overpower here, you could go with improved charge, but I still want to try to get the most out of my overpower that I can.
Gotcha.
And then you go impale, and then 3 into two-handed weapon damage because you're still leveling. This is if you were to continue leveling as Fury past 40, but don't. Just don't do that.
So this is for leveling. Now, would this be good in endgame PvE, or no, is this just more for leveling?
If you are Horde, yes, this is good at in-game PvE because you're wanting to do two-handed Fury, but as Alliance, you dual-wield Fury.
Gotcha.
And the reason why is because of Wind Fury Totem. Wind Fury Totem is far too good with a two-hander.
Dude, and let me just talk about Wind Fury for a second, guys. So, as a warrior, right, imagine every hit, it's slow, but it's so meaningful. You get rage from it. Now, imagine that you have the chance to double that. To get double the amount of rage, right? To get double that amount of white damage hit. Not only for DPS, but for tanking. Meldoron will attest to this. When we're dual leveling as a shaman warrior, it makes it tanking so much easier for him. He has so much more rage, so much more threat. Dude, this is why people love Horde so much. When you're a melee, whether you're a rogue, whether you're a friggin' warrior, Wind Fury Totem is just so fucking good. It's insane. It is insane. It is absolutely insane.
To address that one Southern guy, slightly behind, but it's okay if you go arms but dual wield and try to bait misses to use improved overpower. So I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that your hit rating only affects your chance to hit, not your chance to be dodged or parried. I don't think that your dodge or parry chances go down the more hit rating you have. So I don't think that works like that, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So Atacas, could you explain why arms is better for leveling in your opinion? That's a good question.
So, like I was saying, I like to have anger management early on. That's really good. It just helps you with, going from mob to mob, and this goes along with using spirit. Using spirit gear, because you're going to have less downtime between mobs, so you're going to be able to pull more rage overall, and then if you slow that decay, you're going to be able to pull even more rage, so ultimately you're going to be killing things faster overall. And then, like I said, with the improved rend and deep wounds and impale and all that, I just feel like it's just way better as far as damage goes, and also like it just makes everything like just feel better for me. Like
Yeah.
I really, really like being arms in general. Like it just makes me level faster because I'm just so used to it. But I mean,
And if you get
again,
into a
like
PvP encounter too, like it's so useful too to be
yeah, like
arms.
that's another thing is like if you're on a PvP server, like you can't go wrong having all of the abilities that you're gonna have in your max level PvP spec against people who are in a leveling spec.
Wow. Yeah, I think I'm sold, dude. If I were level a warrior, I would definitely go arms. Honestly, it just sounds like for me, like my play style, what I like to do, how I would be playing. So and so when it comes to stances, right, you're always still going to be, you would charge in battle stance, right, and then go right to berserker, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Once you get Berserker stance, yeah, you pretty much. I go like. It depends on how long I think the fight's gonna last. Like if I think I need to, if I need to use Rend, then I'll keep it up. But after 30, or 36, I mean, when you get Whirlwind, Rend becomes less important,
Okay.
and prioritizing having Rage for Whirlwind is better.
Gotcha.
And Dune no, Alliance would never go Two-Handed Fury for end-game content. But while leveling, yes, you can go Two-Handed Fury until 40, and then switch to arms after that.
Okay. So even if like you get a really good two-handed weapon, like say BRE or something like that, it's still better to go dual wield as alliance.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I mean, I still feel like it is because like
Plus the
if
if
you
you're
depends on the
human
weapon
too,
you
right?
have, yeah,
And if you're
yeah, yeah.
human, so what I'm hearing too is like if you're human and you get sword specialization and you get like two really good swords, that is just so much better for alliance than it would be horde.
And yes, Melderon, once Whirlwind and Mortal Strike are both available, yes, you prioritize Mortal Strike over everything. It just hits way too hard.
Oh yeah, Mortal Strike is,
Yeah.
and so the only thing about like that's why a lot of people don't use Mortal Strike and raids whatever because it's a debuff slot also well. But
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
Mortal Strike is a vicious strike that deals weapon damage plus 85 and wounds the target, reducing effectiveness of healing by 50% for 10 seconds. So it's so good in PvP as well, man. Like when I get Mortal
Hmm.
Strike as a priest, I'm just like, ah, really? It
Yeah.
sucks
The
so
day
much.
they took that out, it was just rip warriors, man. Like,
No, first they reduced it to 25, right? And then they
yeah,
got
yeah,
rid of it
yeah.
completely. Like,
Even
why?
even then, it was just lame. Like I was just like, I'm not trying to, sit here and like have to get into like a who's gonna run out of mana faster.
Yeah, dude,
Like,
and it made like I remember BC Arena was so good. Like warrior, druid, so many times I'd be going in there as a priest and having 50% reduced healing. Like that makes you first of all spend way more mana, and
hmm
the chances are a lot of the times the warrior can do more damage than you can heal. It's just so dangerous and it's just so good.
Yeah, and I mean having the Mortal Strike, like it, even if you can keep up with healing, you're gonna go out of mana a lot quicker. So it's just devastating on many different levels. It does a ton of damage. It forces them to heal more. It forces them to go out of mana faster.
Right, right. Timulja, I think the Nicker is like one of the best pre-raid BIS. It's an axe, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's one of the best pre-raid BIS axes, I believe. But
Yeah.
so as a warrior, like once you get to say like MC, what is your like best weapon in like Molten Core? That it's a well, you get like Bone Reaver's Edge. So what are some of
hmm
the really good weapons in Molten Core and like BWL that you're gonna be looking for?
Bone Reaver's Edge. Just
Bone
get
Reaver's
that.
Edge, yeah.
Don't get anything else.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I mean that's what you go with. But I mean, you're in there with 40 people, so like you're lucky to get anything. So any kind of
Gotcha.
two-hander that's just going to be better than the blue you've got, like just get it. Like you're looking at speed and weapon damage at the top end, basically.
I'm gonna be 100% real right now. I've had dreams before that I was a warrior in battlegrounds with Dark Edge of Insanity and being like an arms warrior. I would just feel like a god. Like
Hmm
that weapon is just so good, and the proc is just so amazing. If you guys don't know, the proc basically has a chance to daze the target for 3 seconds. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in that daze, you can still hit them and it won't break the daze, right? So like it's so powerful to like healers and just also the amount of damage it does is just insane. Like I first of all I think having that weapon as a shaman would be amazing too, but having that weapon as a warrior is just like too good,
hmm
too freaking good.
I mean, I definitely think that the best thing you should go for, like pre-raid BIS is just Arcanite Reaper. I mean,
Arcanite Reaper, right?
even though some may say they have higher DPS, Arcanite Reaper's a 3.8 speed. It's going to give you harder crits.
Gotcha. Yeah, and the other thing, bell-wise too, like you got to be careful with weapons that have debuff slots, because now, like we were talking about the BRE thing, right? And I thought it had that. I think but there are weapons that have chance on hits that cause a debuff slot, and it was a big deal, especially back in the day when there was only 8 debuff slots. So a lot of warriors couldn't bring certain weapons to raids because of that debuff slot that they would be taking. So even if a weapon was really good, but if it had that debuff slot, a lot of times they wouldn't use it because of that.
And you could get lucky and be the one who gets to use Nightfall, though. I think Nightfall's slightly better than Arcanite Reaper. So
yeah, and like as a shaman, that's something. So real quick, I want to talk about a shaman build that I like. So I'll show you my shaman build that I'm doing right now for leveling, and this is a shaman build that I think is going to be good for like duo leveling. So real quick, we'll start. So this would be an enhancement build. So I have put 5 in ancestral knowledge because
I'm going to use the bathroom while you're doing this.
Okay, cool. So 5 in ancestral knowledge because with shield specialization you're not going to need it, especially because I was leveling with a warrior. Shield specialization is really good though. But honestly, I think having 5 in ancestral knowledge for me is what I went with because I had Meldor with me as a warrior. I put 5 in thundering strikes, right? 1 in two-handed axes, 3 in improved lightning shield, 1 in improved ghost wolf, 5 in flurry, 3 in elemental weapons, another in ghost wolf, 1 in parry, weapon mastery, storm strike. So like right here, I feel like this is a really good build for PvP, especially with improved ghost wolf. Now you have the option here to go down into the restoration tree, which I don't know if I would right now because I mean, in order to get down Nature's Guidance, it would take a long time. So I put 5 points into concussion, and then you could put either. So here you're level 45. You could go down to Call of Flame, Earth's Grasp. You could put the 5, which is really good for like Searing Totem, things like that. Put 5 in the Tidal Focus. I think that's just really good to have that mana as well. And then honestly, probably Convection, just because of how nice it is to be able to have a little bit less damage on your shocks. And probably from here, it's up to you. I mean, Totemic Focus is nice. But other than that, I think this is a pretty decent leveling spec while as a shaman for enhancement. But see, Guardian Totems for kiting is nice for solo leveling as well. That's very true. So Guardian Totems is where's Guardian Totems? Guardian Totems is right here. So increases the amount of damage reduced by your Stone Skin and Wind Wall Totem by 10%. Reduces the cooldown of Grounding Totem by 1 second. So that's really good too. And even for that Grounding Totem is really good. So like, yeah, for solo leveling, honestly, Loyal, I would look at something completely different for solo leveling. This is more of a dual leveling spec. And this is the spec I'm using right now on my shaman, and I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. The amount of just burst damage that I've been doing is insane. But I'm really excited to hit level 40. I might go ahead and try Elemental. So one of the things I've been talking to a lot of you guys about is whether I want to play a Tarn or Orc. So I've decided when Classic comes out, I'm making a Tarn Shaman, and I'm going to go Elemental. So my Elemental build is what I'm working on is going to be something like this. Now, another thing, guys, I don't really... Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, but how important is Call of Flame as an Elemental Shaman? I think it's really good, but also I think the benefit of Convection is really good as well. So I'm just going to put 3 into Call of Flame, put a couple into Convection, go Call of Thunder, go Elemental Focus, and then from here, so are you going to play Private until Lodge? Absolutely. Hell yeah, Varg. Absolutely Tarn. Tarn represent. Searing Totem is very good for leveling, says Defcam. So yeah, so that's why I think Call of Flame is just that good. And at this point, I would just put more in Convection here because I think now Elemental Devastation is good. Now your offensive spells crits increases your chance to get a critical strike with melee attacks by 3%. But the thing is, I'm not exactly sure what my playstyle yet is going to be for Elemental, so I don't know if that is the right move or not. I'm just wondering if Elemental Devastation is good for leveling while Elemental. What do you guys think about that? Tarn Shaman sounds fun. I have a Tarn Ellie Shaman Twink in retail. So honestly, I would put a point either in Improved Fire Gnomes or Eye of the Storm, Elemental Fury, Storm Reach, maybe another one in Eye of the Storm. So no on the, yeah. I think Eye of the Storm is great, honestly, too. So I'm going to put 3 points there. Lightning Master. And now this is for leveling, right? So for leveling, I will get Elemental Mastery. That's what I'm going to do. Once at level 40, have Elemental Mastery. Go with Tidal Focus. Go Totemic Focus. Totemic Mastery. And now here is where you want to put, and I'm pretty sure, Nature's Guidance, right? Increases your chance to hit with melee attacks and spells. Put 3 there. Now you can put 1 point in Improved Reincarnation. I think that's pretty decent. Just to put 1 point there. And then 5 points in Tidal Mastery. That's what I'll have as level 60. Yeah, hit rating, absolutely. Kigo! Oh, what's up, Atticus? Thanks. Dude, and by the way, I think if you ever get a chance to do it, Warrior Shaman dual leveling is just so good. Especially with Wind Fury Totem.
Oh, yeah.
Kigo says, I have missed it, but did he discuss about abilities to train leveling as a warrior? For example, I heard it's not worth investing into Thunderclap. Yes, Kigo, honestly, you just missed it. We did such a really good deep dive into it. I highly recommend checking out
Not the abilities, though.
Not the abilities so much, though. Yeah, so
yeah. So real
that's
quick,
a good point. So, like, yeah, is
Thunderclap
Thunderclap like shit? Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, the only thing that increases with Thunderclap is, like, damage, and I think that maybe one of the later ones increase the percentage that it slows them down as far as their weapon speed goes. But yeah, I mean, Thunderclap, Demoralizing Shout, Shield Bash, Revenge, Sunder Armor, Mocking Blow, Slam, and Hamstring. All of those, they're not worth upgrading, because for one, like, some of them you just don't use. Like, Slam you don't use. Mocking Blow you can use to, like, deal a little bit of damage here and there, but, I mean, it's very, very few and far between. It has like a 1 minute cooldown, so it's not like a one you spam. And then Hamstring, the only increases for Hamstring are a 5% increase to the slow, and then another 5% increase to slow.
Gotcha.
But like, that's, you don't even get the second one until like level 54.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so there's no point in like throwing, because I think by the time you train rank 2, it's like a gold 50 or something, or level it up, which is a lot for an ability that's only increasing 5% of the damage.
That is a lot. That is a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing that so as a priest. So let me go back into my priest spec. There's a few spells that I don't go as well. So let's talk about priest real quick again. So for the shaman guys, this is something that I think is a really good leveling spec for elemental. Now I'm going to talk about priest for a little bit, right? So as we went over in the beginning, of course, I said we put 5 into wand specialization, 5 into Spirit Tap, 2 into Improved Shadow Word Pain, 3 into Shadow Focus. You can get Mind Flay right away if you want to, or go into Shadow Focus. Either way, you're going to have this set out like that. 5 into Shadow Weaving, 1 in Silence, 1 in Vampiric Embrace, 3 in Blackout, Darkness, Shadow Form. Okay, so this is your... I'm sorry. At level 40, of course, we do the respec to be like this, and then we'll go into wand specialization. So something about Shadow Priest is what I like. You know, you definitely want to make sure you're training your holy abilities while leveling as Shadow. The thing is, you're going to heal dungeons, and you're going to be able to do it fine as Shadow. Like, don't worry about, you know, trying to find, you know, plus healing gear is great and all. If you can get it, you'd be good. As long as you don't have like plus shadow damage in your group while you're healing, you'll be fine. Just intel spirit gear will go such a far way. Spells that you definitely want to keep up on, you know, you want to keep up on, of course, your Mind Blast, of course, your Shadow Word Pains, your bubbles, your most of your heals while leveling. One thing that you really could do, which I really, you know, if Resurrection rank 1, just do rank 1 for if you want to save the gold, because you know, chances are, yeah, you're gonna res someone, they're gonna have low health, whatever, but you should heal them up fine. I mean, you can save a lot of money by just not doing your resurrection. Other little things like, you know, multiple forms of, you know, well, levitate is good. I mean, it's great to have, but things like, okay, one thing that I think is something you're definitely going to need while leveling is to make sure you have all your ranks of, like I said, your heals, flash heal, greater heals, heal, lesser heal. I mean, you're going to be using a lot of them. Renew as well. So the thing is with a priest, you're going to want to train a lot of your spells. At least that's the way I do it, right? But honestly, man, like when it comes down to it, the main thing you want to worry about is your damage spells. Like, you know, if you're going to be healing and you know that you're going to be using your flash heal and just heal, then just worry about those heals. What do you say?
No, my friend on stream just tipped me 500 bits.
Oh,
Thanks,
shit.
Captain.
Hell yeah.
Captain
Nice,
Mike.
dude.
On
Nice.
Twitch. Oh yeah, by the way, real quick, just to touch on what Kigo asked. Kigo asked about training up, stop ranking up Ren for a while once you get Mortal Strike. At that point, you've already got your mount, so as far as gold being spent on abilities, you can do it as you see fit, because you're not saving for the level 40 mount anymore, and it's going to take you a while once you hit 60 to get your epic riding anyway, so just get what you need at that point, but continue to rank it up until that point.
Yeah.
And again, real quick, anybody watching, I'm streaming on Twitch, and I'm also got my YouTube channel that would be super sweet.
What's your Twitch link? Can you let me
I'll send it to you.
Send it to me.
Discord real quick.
Because guys, I'm not streaming on Twitch right now, so if you're gonna watch him on Twitch, I don't know what happened, dude. And I'm sorry again, guys. I don't know what the hell happened, but the stream was a little scuffed in the beginning, and I lost the Twitch stream, which is. I mean, I'm sorry if anyone was watching over there, but I usually don't have too many people on Twitch. It's usually over on YouTube. But
here's the link real quick.
Okay, cool.
But
so,
yeah, and if anybody wants to sub to my YouTube channel, I plan on putting out some more guides real soon. The next one I'm going to do is Rogue, which is very similar to the Warrior one that I just put out. It's going to be focused on saving money and getting to 60 as quickly as possible.
And this
is going to have some weapon progression too.
This is the guide he just put on YouTube, the Warrior guide. We went over it on Saturday. It had so many really good pointers, and I really want to say again, dude, like, being your first WoW video, you did such an amazing job. Such a great job, and keep it up, dude. So yeah, and another thing we could talk about is like with what you mentioned in the video is, so a lot of times you're gonna run into a quest or something like that where you're gonna have to kill one target and he's gonna have 3 people around him, right? So what Atacas said in this video is to make sure you pull that target, make sure you do damage to the target that you need to kill. Don't damage the other two. That target, now that you damaged it, will have a farther reach on you on his aggro range. So he will chase you further than the other two. The other two will reset before the one does that you hit will. So you can take him back and kill him while the other two reset. It works really good. It probably most likely 100% will work in Classic because it did work in retail. So that was
I'm showing it on my stream right now, just a little demonstration of it.
Yeah, let me show it too. So what was the timestamp for that?
It starts at about 12:44.
12:44. Yeah, so watch how he does it here, guys.
Maybe a little bit longer. 12:48. Rounded that. It's fine. Whatever. But yeah, so you hit the mob that's furthest away. If your range missed, which happens all the damn time in vanilla, just wait till it gets to you and then just get 1 point of damage on it. Doesn't matter what kind of damage you deal to it. But you just have to run away until the other mob decides that he doesn't want to mess with you anymore.
Oh, you did miss him there. That was great.
But yeah, and then you can hamstring him too and slow him down, but it's a little bit harder to dictate where he's going to stop. So I don't typically slow him down. I just strafe and just hit them because you want to deal damage anyway. But yeah, if you slow him down, then you might accidentally run out of the second mob's range as well.
And it's a really good tip as a warrior as well because a lot of times as a warrior, it's really hard to take on 2 mobs at once. It's like really difficult. So definitely,
but you can do this against, especially if you are doing the two-handed fury method, then you can save yourself a lot of damage by keeping Piercing Howl up, or if you're at the point like later on when you've already got Piercing Howl, obviously keep them like slowed down and whatnot. But you can do this with literally like 5 mobs. Like when you're like in Elwyn Forest and there's those packs of gnolls that are like 6 deep sometimes, just hit one of them with a thrown weapon and then just run away, and then the one that you hit's gonna follow you longer.
Yep. And dude, it's and that works with like any class, anything you do. And it's just a really good overall tip that a lot of people, for some reason, forget about. So I think that was just awesome that you mentioned that. And someone asked what you would do as a priest when you hit level 60. I think it was Peak Smile. So yeah, if I'm going to heal at level 60 Peak Smiles, the thing is, it's great to heal and all as a Shadow Priest while leveling. But once you hit level 60, I completely recommend respecking and going into a holy or disciplined player. In my next stream, guys, we'll be talking more about what you're going to be doing as a priest and other classes when you hit level 60. When you hit level 60, so that, I don't know why that one was so loud. When you hit level 60, so that you know, like, okay, what is your best spec to go into as a priest right when you hit level 60 before you get your best in slot, or different things that you can do at level 6. So there's multiple specs that I think I would recommend. We'll do a deep dive into that on the next stream. So this one's just mostly about leveling. Yeah, that one was really loud. I don't know why that one was so fucking loud. Druid. A lot of people ask about Druid. Jasper, big one that up.
Got 10 viewers on Twitch right now. What's up? Thank you.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome, man.
Ooh, and a follower. Thanks, man.
So, okay, you guys want to talk a little bit about Druid? I know a little bit about Druid while leveling. So the thing about Druid is that I like is they make excellent tanks while leveling, right? Really extremely good. I would say, I mean, I know Atacas might step on your toes here a little bit as a warrior, but I personally think that druids during the leveling process make the better tank. Personally.
Oh no, definitely they have more AoE.
They have more AoE. They have a great threat while leveling, and the reason is, so I'm gonna right here, guys. I'm gonna make a spec for you that is something that where you can level as kitty cat, and you can level as a tank when you need a tank. So this is what I'm going to be doing while leveling as a druid. So first 5 points, hands down, go into ferocity. Okay, reduces the cost of your maul, swipe, claw, and rake abilities by 5 rage or energy. That's huge. 5 rage and maul is your premier damage that will be doing a lot of threat as you're tanking in bear, and of course claw is going to be your main damage, since you won't be able to backstab from the front in classic, which would be basically your shred ability. So shred is basically like backstab for a rogue, but you won't be able to do that from the front like you were on private servers. So claw will be
that
your
reminds
ability.
me.
Yeah.
Real quick, this is a reason why you're actually not going. Well, it's definitely not going to be beneficial to go Fury for leveling a warrior in Classic, is because a lot of your Fury like damage and survivability is based off of being able to get sit crit.
Yep.
And they said they weren't going to have that in Classic.
So from what I know in the demo and all, right, so that like sit crit, you will still get crit when you sit, but it won't proc the abilities that are procced. So it won't proc Reckoning, and won't proc what was it for warriors?
It was Enrage and your Blood Craze abilities.
Right. So so I think it's cool that they did this, because RP wise, right, it makes sense that if you're sitting, you're basically getting hit while not like paying attention. Like it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's immersive. It's.
You ever tried to defend yourself while getting kicked in the face on the ground?
It's not that easy, exactly. But it won't be proccing those abilities that it normally procced on private servers, which I think is good, because honestly, dude, like. Getting one shot by a paladin who's just sitting down and getting hit by a boar and then comes over and one hits you is kind of annoying. You know what I mean? But so Reckoning, yeah. So okay, so back to the so, and also no front stabs for rogues and druids. Okay. So guys, next thing here where I actually got really messed up is because I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna tank, right? So increases your armor contribution by items, thick hide, right? Obviously that is what I thought to do. But if you read Feral Instinct here, it is way more important, because what it does is it increases the threat caused in bear and dire bear form by 3%, and it stacks 5 times, and reduces enemies to chance to detect you while prowling. So honestly, guys, put 5 points. 5 points right into Feral Instinct. It is just that good. It is really amazing. I think it is by far way more important than thick hide, especially while leveling. Thick hide is not that big of a difference in when you're going to be in dungeons and shit like that.
In Classic, it's a lot different. So if you guys, anyone on here hasn't really messed around with stealth in Classic, the detection for mobs is way higher in Classic.
Way higher. You can,
it's a lot harder to sneak up on people.
Especially if they are the same level as you or a little bit higher, they will, look at you and see you from a lot further away. So that does help while leveling as well.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I mean it. Nothing more annoying than a paladin in blues killing your epic geared warrior with 5 silly hit combo. I know, Ion. I know. Okay, so
well, they did change it so you can't infinitely stack. That was even a thing in Classic,
yes.
right?
Remember the one, basically one hit Kazakh. Yeah, as soon as that happened, they like changed it the next day, which is so freaking ridiculous. Hilarious. Okay, guys, so I'm glad we're giving some druids some love because a lot of people in this chat know you guys love druids. So next thing,
hate druids.
Oh, they're so good, so good. Next thing you want to do, guys, feline swiftness. It is just that good. So at level 20, you will be getting cat form, feral cat DPS form. Now, right at level 20, you can have 1 point into feral swiftness, which is going to increase your movement speed while in cat form by 15%. One more point into it, 30%. So right now, at level 21, you have 30% increased movement speed in cat form. Huge, huge, helpful while leveling. Just so very nice. Absolutely amazing, right? Now, next here is where my personal preference comes in. Feral Charge is great and all, but it's not 100% necessary while tanking at that level. It's great and all. I kind of like to have the Sharpened Claws first, and then I'll go into Feral Charge later, or you can do it now. It doesn't matter. I kind of wait. I hold off on Feral Charge for a little bit because while tanking, you can still tank fine without it. Myself, I'll go in there and pull with a Moonfire and then go into bear form. It's just as good, honestly. It takes a little bit more time, and a lot of times Feral Charge, it uses Rage as well. So, yeah, it's good to have and all, but I think first thing to do, Sharpen Claws, which increases the critical strike chance while in bear, dire bear, or cat form by 6%, which is huge because more crits equals more threat equals more damage as cat and in bear form. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing right there. Next thing you want to do here, guys, you have Predatory Strikes, Blood Frenzy, Primal Fury, right? Increases your melee attack power in cat, bear, and dire bear form by 50% of your level. So 150% of your level, I mean, I don't know what exactly that equates to when you're level 27, but it's a pretty good amount. Blood Frenzy is also really good while leveling because your critical strikes from cat form abilities that add combo points have a 100% chance to add an additional combo point. Just amazingly good while leveling. Now, a big question here is for a lot of people like Primal Fury, right? Gives you a 50% chance to gain an additional 5 rage anytime you get a critical strike while bear and dire form. So what a lot of people do here is if you're primarily going to be worrying about tanking a lot, you could go Primal Fury here and not, put points into Predatory Strikes or a couple into Blood Frenzy. Honestly, guys, most of the time you're going to be in cat form, right? Like 99% of the time, you're going to be leveling in cat form. To help while tanking, Primal Fury does help a little bit, but I feel like putting 2 points into Primal Fury just to help a little bit while tanking when these things will benefit you all the time in cat form and bear form, not so much bear form as Blood Frenzy, I think is a lot more important. Because you got to remember here, as a druid, you're going to be leveling, primarily cat form, and you got to do dungeons while bear form. But the thing is, you can still tank 100% fine with the talents that you have here. It's not that big of a difference to where you have to worry about it that much. Just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that. Cat form, like I said, is going to be more important than bear form a lot of times, and you can still tank just fine. Now, Fairy Fire Feral, Savage Fury, personally, depends what you want to go first here. You're going to put points into both of them. The thing is, Fairy Fire Feral is amazing for tanking. So if you find yourself primarily focusing more on tanking, go ahead and get the Fairy Fire first because it's a great way to pull. You can pull, with Fairy Fire from I think it's like 30 yards, great range. Also decreases the armor on the target by 175 for 40 seconds. And it's great to put on rogues because once you put it on them, they can't go back into invis form. So they can't re-stealth.
Screw rogues.
Dude, screw rogues, exactly. So, yeah, get a Wolf's Head Helm, says Loyal. Wolf's Head Helm, we'll talk about that, what it does exactly. And we'll talk about your crowd pummelers as well. So...
Yeah, get ready to farm those at 60.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is more for leveling, guys. That's more for, like, endgame stuff, you know what I mean? But Wolf's Head Helm is really good. So I think it's... What level is that, Wolf's Head? Let me look it up real quick.
It's level 30.
Is it level 30? So, yeah, you can get that right.
Oh, wait, no. I was thinking what time... Never mind. Let me look it up. I was talking about the spec.
Oh,
But
okay.
Wolf's Head
Yeah.
Helm, yeah. Well, Wolf's Head Helm, like it's also so good that people were using it. It's level 40, but people
Gotcha.
were still using it in
In
BC.
BC. Yep.
Like that's how
So,
crazy good it is.
guys, just to give you an example of what it does when shapeshifting into cat form. So it's just only into cat form. The druid gains 20 energy when shaping into bear form. It gains 5 rage. So let me show you something here. At level 40, right? You can have that. And what Fuhrer does over here, so it gives you with 5 points into it, gives you a 100% chance to gain 10 rage from shapeshift and 40 energy in a bear form. So a lot of people really like to go Fuhrer pretty early on, but I think a lot of the benefits that you get here are really important. But you definitely do want to get Fuhrer as soon. I mean, a lot of people like to do it even before you go Heart of the Wild, things like that. But personally, if you can get Wolf's Head Helm, it just helps that much more while leveling. When shapeshifting into cat form, that's 20 energy right there. And when shapeshifting into bear form, that's 5 rage. So right there, if you have that 5 rage, you can go, which I'm putting the next point into, feral charge right here. You can use that feral charge right away by shifting into bear form. So usually they are low pop. You think Druid is going to have a big population in Classic? Yeah, John. Actually, Druids usually have the lowest population in on private servers. So they
I think
probably.
that at the start we're going to end up with a very good balance of
You think
things.
so?
I
Yeah.
think Warrior and Rogue will still be on the top end, but I think that you got to also consider there's going to be tons of people playing that have no knowledge of vanilla. They're going to come over and just be like, "Well, I always play this class, so I'm going to play this class."
Very true.
Not going to know the bad parts of it.
Very true. Very good point. Yeah. So guys, level 33. This is, you basically have a lot of stuff going on right here. You have a lot of utility. We just put a point in a feral charge, so you have your feral charge now. Now, a lot of people like to go, like I said, put 5 points into Fuhrer pretty early on. But what I'm going to recommend here is doing this. So you could put either a point into Thick Hide or a point into Primal Fury. Whatever you think is more important for you. If you feel like you're getting hit a little bit harder, 1 point into Thick Hide is not going to do that much. I think 1 point into Primal Fury would help a little bit while tanking, so I would go ahead and put that there. Heart of the Wild is just so good. So it increases at 5 points, it increases your intellect by 20%. In addition, in bear form or dire bear form, your stamina is increased by 20%. And while in cat form, your strength is increased by 20%. So right there, that's huge. Now, again, Fuhrer is also really good. So depending on what your preference is and what you want to do, you can either put 5 points in Fuhrer first to get that 100% chance to gain 10 rage while shapeshifting or 40 energy, or you can go ahead and go Heart of the Wild and then Leader of the Pack first. So guys, it's a lot to do with your preference. What do you feel like? If you're going to be tanking a lot and you're going to be going in and out of form a lot, I would say go ahead and put those 5 points into Fuhrer, because it would really benefit a lot from tanking. If you're going to be doing a lot of, if you're staying in cat form most of the time, then yeah, Fuhrer won't be that beneficial for you. You might as well get the 5 points in the Heart of the Wild. So a lot has to do with what your play style is. The point is you're going to be getting these points either way. So whatever one you want to do is most important for you. That's fine. Now, once you have 5 points into Fuhrer, so this is level 45, you finished here in your feral combat tree. Next thing you want to do is go into the balance tree, right? This is where. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Jumbo Muffin. Thank you very much.
Hey,
So Devil Sword gear is best early on, right, for feral. So Devil Sword is really, yeah. Well, depending on John Petrucci, if you're going feral DPS, if you're going feral tanking, no, it is not. So okay, Nature's Grasp, 5 points in improved Nature's Grasp, because honestly, Nature's Grasp is great for PvP, and honestly, guys, this is a great spec for PvP as well. Now, natural weapons, huge, amazing talent right here. Increases damage you deal with physical attacks in all forms by 10%. Huge right there. Honestly, I think this is like one of the best things that you can get. It's just really helpful, very nice, and honestly, it's just really good. And then you want to go ahead and get Omen of Clarity, so this imbues the Druid. So this is a clear casting, but which is really cool is it works for all forms. Imbues the druid with natural energy. Each of the druid's melee attacks has a chance of causing the caster to enter a clear casting state. So clear casting state reduces the mana, rage, or energy cost of your next damage or healing spell by 100%. So if you proc clear casting, guys, that's a free maul in your next ability. That's a free claw. That's a free shred. That right there is just huge. The amount of abilities you'll be able to use, like having that Omen of Clarity. So very, very nice for that as well. Now, at level 56, you're pretty much fully ready. You know, you're whatever you're doing, you're tanking. You can put some points in a thick hide if you want. In natural shapeshifter is really nice as well because it reduces the mana cost of all shapeshifting by 30%. So depending on what you're doing, if you're going in and out of form a lot, you can put 3 points in a natural shapeshifter, or you can put your points in a thick hide if you're going to be doing a lot of dungeons at that point. But like I said, guys, Fuhrer is amazing. It's great. Wolf's Head Helm is also really good at level 40 if you can pick that up with leatherworking. And like I said, you know, at level 40 or so, or before that, I'm sorry, level, what does it end up being? Like around level 38 or so. I'm sorry, before that actually. Around level 34 or so. If you want to go ahead and go into Fuhrer first, you can do that. Or if you want to go ahead and go into Heart of the Wild first, it's up to you depending on what you find yourself doing more. But that is what I love to do as Druid. And the thing about Druids they're so versatile, right? I mean, Atacas, how many times do you like charge a Druid, you know, put hamstring on them, they just go out of cat form, go right back into it, and just run away? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
they are
literally the worst thing ever.
Yeah, they are like so good for like running away, getting away. I think Druids are amazing at PvP. You know, you can get out of a slow, root somebody. How many times you just like, you know, root a warrior, heal yourself up, go into bear form, you know, attack him a little bit, go into cat form, put some bleeds on him, root him, run away, heal yourself up again. I mean, potentially, guys, if you know how to play a Druid and you can manage your mana, right? So the thing is with cat form and going into bear form and all these things, it uses a ton of mana. That's why natural shapeshifter can be really good as well. And Fuhrer as well, because going in and out of cat form all the time and in and out of bear form, you're going to need some rage so that you can charge a target. You're going to need some energy so that you can start attacking a target. Like, it's really important to have that Fuhrer as well. But you really need to manage your mana. So having mana pots, making sure that you don't go, you know, in and out of cat form or other forms unnecessarily. Again, guys, something that I forgot to mention on how. At level 30, you do get travel form. So, you know, and feline swiftness is still great because you can use that while indoors. So if you're in a dungeon, it works great as well. And like I said, most of the time you're going to be in cat form. But at level 30, you get a 40% increased travel form, which is just amazing. So yeah, I mean, Druids are great while leveling, dude. I think Druids, I have a Druid right now, and the grind, like the capabilities of how much you can grind as a Druid, it's unbelievable. I think they are only topped by Hunters, in my opinion. I think they're better than Warlocks. What do you think, Atticus?
As far as Druids for leveling,
Yeah,
yes. I mean,
yeah.
they're really, really fast. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done both, but I don't know. I mean, Warlock has just always been this is the fastest way to do it, and Hunter's like the fastest way to do it. But if you play a Druid right, I think that you can at least compete with the times.
Yep, and this is the thing too. Like, you know, Warlocks are great. Their pets aren't as strong as Hunter pets. Their grind capabilities are good, but the thing about Druid is so good is you can constantly kill things, and you kill things very fast as a Druid. You can stealth when you need to get around mobs. If it's a PvP server, you can get out of a lot of needlessly PvP encounters that are going to make you die a lot. So that's having that stealth is huge. And
Stealth
also,
is a huge factor.
Dude, it's huge. So imagine being a rogue that can heal himself and also tank, right? Because the major thing about Druids that's so good is you have basically no downtime, right? When you kill 3 mobs and you need to heal yourself, you're going to be in full mana. You go out, you know, put a rejuvenation on yourself, you know, either healing touch.
Just jump on the next one.
And then just jump on the next mob, dude. And it is non-stop grinding. You know, takes 1 second to come out, heal yourself up again, and go right into the next mob. The grind potential is just so good, and you kill mobs so quick. So Druid is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Jasper says, yes, sure, but after all, you can have... I don't know what you were talking. If you're making a Druid to main tank, you will sorely be disappointed, in my opinion. Yeah, so the Jester, honestly, main tanking in vanilla is usually a warrior's job, right? But when it comes down to it, dude, there are a lot of fights where druid tanks reign supreme. Um,
And
even
that's only like in the hardcore guilds. Like, I mean,
yes,
there's tons of guilds out there that'll just be like, yeah, we're trying to have fun and we'll experiment with anything.
right.
So you don't have to default to just what the theory crafting has always been or what's been proven to be the best. You can, there's definitely room to wiggle around. Just depends on who you're playing with.
Absolutely. And like, see, the thing is, like, first impressions are lasting impressions. So unfortunately, druids were bear druids were kind of shit in the beginning of vanilla. They had like very low amount of armor bonus, was like 160%, and then later it got buffed to what it is now, like 300 and whatever it is, 360, 370, something like that. So it was really bad in the beginning, and it left it left like a sore taste in a lot of people's mouth. They're like, feral druids suck, this, that, and the other. But
And
dude,
also you have to reevaluate it as well. I mean, like there's still
yep.
like you this game's been out for like 14 years and people are still discovering like new ways to do things nowadays. And so the amount of knowledge that we have now versus the knowledge that was available whenever druids had that bad taste put in everyone's mouth, it's different. Like it's astronomically different. There's so
Yep.
many different ways that you can do things now. So if you can find a way to make it work, then just do that.
Exactly. And, I honestly, like, 100% believe that druids, there are a lot of fights where they reign supreme. Like, a lot of people even believe that a lot of fights in Nax, druids are really good. Because the thing is, I'm going to show you guys this clip real quick from Scarm Tank. If you don't know who he is an amazing content creator as well. He does a lot of tanking stuff over on YouTube. I'll put a link in the chat real quick. And I just want to show you guys what he does on Patchwork and how just amazing this is. And he actually is better suited to tanking this fight than a lot of the warriors. So I just want to show you guys how, like, the kind of hits he can take here.
Pretty funny anyway.
Oh, they almost have him dead here. So just look at this here, guys. I mean, he's very geared. He's got AQ gear. And
Be right back.
yeah, you can see the kind of damage he's taking here. It is just crazy. I mean, the fact that he has so much more health. He has like 14k health here. It's insane.
Maybe they can tank, but they're not good for progression.
So, like I said, guys, there's a lot of things that druids can do. A lot of people think that, oh, they can't tank, they can't do this. Not true, man. Druids can tank a lot of fights. I wouldn't necessarily make them like the main tank for the raid or the main tank for this and that and the other, but they make great off tanks. They make great main tanks in some instances, but for the most part, druids are fucking awesome, dude. And I fucking think they're great. Yeah, Scarm is awesome, dude. You guys have to check Scarm out if you haven't checked him out. If you like anything about tanking, whether you're a druid or a warrior, I highly recommend checking out Scarm. Highly recommend checking out Scarm. Zen says, I think something that needs to be remembered here is that all this theory crafting is based on incorrect boss encounters on private servers. So Zach, or Zen3K, bears might be vastly okay. So let me you're right to a degree. So a lot of these encounters are based on a lot of research that people from NOS and people from Elysium have done, from numbers that they went back on Wayback Machines, from numbers that they had based on information they had in vanilla. It's very possible that things will be off, but to a degree that is not going to make so much of a difference that's going to make druid tanks not viable.
And even if it does make a difference, we don't know which way that's going to swing it, because if we have the exact same, like say that we have the exact same game from 2004, 2006, like I said, all that knowledge that we've gained, we didn't have that knowledge back then. So even if that knowledge has only been applied to private servers, there may be even different, better ways to apply it to the actual, like that we had. And
that's a good point. And honestly, man, like, when talking to a lot of these people who have talked about, private server numbers and, spell coefficients and stuff like this, some of the stuff that they did that was guesswork was not like 100%. It's not like they 100% guess and say, oh, we're just going to make it work this way. No, it's like they had so much information and so much knowledge about the encounter already that they had to basically say, okay, like we know this works like this. We don't have the exact number that what we have, but we have this evidence, this evidence, this evidence to make an educated guess on. It's not like they're just 100% guessing it out of nowhere and saying, we're going to give him 500 armor. No, that's not how it works. The fact is this thing had whatever so much armor. I guarantee you they're within 5 to 10% of the number. It's not going to be such a difference to where like druid tanks aren't gonna be able to do patchwork, or druid tanks aren't gonna be able to do a certain boss. And a lot of the things is, people have this information that have had it for, since vanilla, that people have carried that on, way back machines, things like that. A lot of the information has been carried on. Things that like a lot of things that are, so let me give an example for a mechanic in Onyxia, right? Talked about this before. When she does her deep breath mechanic, private servers, they knew the mechanic, they knew how much damage the mechanic did, they knew basically everything about the mechanic except for something that was in the coding, which was how the mechanic was triggered. So these are the kind of things that private servers had to kind of do educated guesses on. So they had a lot of the numbers correct, they had a lot of the information correct, but what they didn't have correct is how it was done. So they, making it say that, okay, so what happens is it's a roll the dice thing. If, you have a dice that's 1 through 5 and it lands on 3, that's how deep breath is initiated. But the fact is, Blizzard said, no, that's not how it was done. It was a totally different thing that coded it. So, but the thing is, the deep breath still happened, usually the around the same amount that it happened in vanilla. It still did the roughly same amount of damage and did all these similar things. When people say that things are going to be different, it's going to be different to a degree where it's not like the numbers are incredibly different, but the way that it's done, the process and the coding is what's going to be different.
And on top of that, Jester, we're not like saying anyone's wrong. We're just basically saying that we don't know. Because of so many different factors, there's no definitive answer for anything right now.
Yes.
It's literally going to, like, all this information that everyone's putting videos out on now is not going to be 100% correct no matter which way you look at it, because everything's going to be slightly different whenever Classic comes out.
Yeah. And, the thing is, too, man, like, Blizzard could totally say, and they've even came out and said a lot of the stuff that they had pre 1.12, they don't have anymore. They can come out and say, oh, this is the way it was in vanilla, and technically maybe it wasn't 100% the way it was in vanilla. Maybe they, buffed it. Like, they could, like we talked about in the GMA, they could, do a 10% buff to armor on the boss, to make it a little bit harder and say, oh, that's just the way it was in vanilla. Like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to know differently? I mean, there are some instances where things might have been, more similar on private servers. Like, okay, for this fact, there is obviously, on a lot of technical things such as, like the number coefficients, things like that, yeah, Blizzard should have more information than private servers have. I mean, it's their coding, it's their stuff like that. But when it comes to, little things like the graphics, like the raid frames, things like that, like private servers have the original way that it was done. In the demo and in the Classic, it's going to be the new 7.35 core. And we don't, and I think hopefully we get a blue post about this too, is like, what other effects will the 7.35 core have on Classic WoW? That's something that we don't know, like what other effects it's going to have.
I'm just hoping that it makes it smoother, because every single server that I've played on, it's just something about it just feels clunky. Like,
yeah.
And you go log in on retail, it's like, it's just a smooth, just like everything moves good, and like I think that's like one of the biggest things that bugs me about PvP on privates.
Dude,
that
yeah,
you just moving between people's feels weird.
Yeah, so much of that has to do with the latency, like latency issues like that we have, especially being on the US. It's just so bad, like being able to go in a battleground and you sit there and you hit, a button and it just doesn't do anything. And that's another way, like the way they deal with latency on retail and that 7.35 core is a lot different than the way they dealt with it back then. Like basically when you did an ability and it didn't go through yet because of your latency, it didn't go through in the game as well. But in the 7.35 core, if you did that ability and it didn't show up on your screen, it still happened in the game. Like it was still batched for that batch. But just because you didn't see it yet because of your latency on your end is wrong doesn't mean that it didn't already happen. So a lot of times, like if you're, say, a healer, right, and you're lagging really bad and you're spamming your heal, you'll see when you come back from that lag that those heals went off. But in vanilla, it didn't do that, right? Because on your end, a lot of the information didn't go into that batch yet. So things like that will make it run so much smoother. And for the most part, I mean, yeah, it's going to be a great experience. But I just wanted to defend.
We should touch on some of these other topics too. Go ahead, though.
No, I just wanted to say, because like a lot of these private server people say, oh, they're, without them, man, and the work they did, of course not everything is right, but a lot of those guys, man, like they did a great job, and like if it wasn't for a lot of those people, we possibly might have not gotten Classic WoW. So
and if nothing else, they at least captured the essence of the game.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's important. Yeah.
So some of the other things we could talk about. I know that someone, let's see, who was it, was asking a question about what he should actually level. It's Parafan Forever. Says, I'm going to do a level with a friend. He is going mage, and I'm going either shaman or warrior. What do you guys think would be better as leveling duo?
Ooh.
My opinion, I mean, mage and warrior have good synergy, just
Yeah.
because the mage can like control things, and the warrior needs to heal and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that shaman would probably just be better for the simple fact of heals,
Yeah.
and still gonna have, you know, like a lot of warrior damage early on comes from just auto attacks,
Yep.
and shamans will have comparable auto attacks
Yeah.
when they get two-handers. So a lot of the damage is going to remain the same. But as far as, I wouldn't worry so much about how the synergy is during the game or leveling. I would worry about, you know, what you feel most comfortable playing
Absolutely.
at in-game.
Yeah, absolutely.
What role you want to fill. Because, I mean, if you want to be a healer, by all means, shaman. If you want to do melee DPS, warrior. If you want to tank, warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still do melee DPS as a shaman, but it's obviously not going to be as good.
Yeah. I mean, like, when looking at the, like, straight numbers of, like, how good shamans can be, like, do a leveling, like, yeah, of course, you know, they have totems. Like, that right there is huge. The fact that they can, you know, it's a little bit less with a caster because, of course, they don't benefit from Wind Fury, things like that. But, you know, Mana Spring Totem is huge right there. Like, Stoneclaw Totem to, you know, pull. And the fact that they can heal is going to be a lot very beneficial to that mage, especially if they're doing, like, AoE grinding. You know, the shaman could drop Fire Nova Totem. The mage can be AoE pulling and kiting, things like that. So I think, you know, synergistically,
Yeah, the AoE shaman or AoE grinding for those two classes would be
is
really
good. Especially, you know, the shaman could just throw him heals when he needs it and drop some
Exactly.
Fire Nova Totems. You know, if he's elemental, you know, put down some chain lightnings. But you know, and a lot of it also would have to do, like, if it's going to be on a PvP server, like, you know, where they are at what levels, because, you know, warriors just do a lot better with gear. So yeah, keep that in consideration as well. Like, warrior leveling is by far probably one of the, you know, toughest leveling because they stack really well with gear, and you're kind of limited to what gear you have while leveling. So
I had a friend tried to tell me that warrior leveling was like one of the easiest in vanilla. I was like, the fuck are you smoking?
yeah, by the way, I've only leveled a warrior.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Hey, what's up, Outbreak?
Outbreak, how you doing, brother?
Thanks for that. I think you subscribed to me earlier. That was
Hell
thanks,
yeah.
man. I'm only 8 away from 100, by the way.
Dude,
I'm
that
trying
is
to get
awesome.
100 super bad.
Guys, let's get him 100. So let me link your Twitch one more time.
Yeah.
Guys.
Well, it's 100 on YouTube. That's what I mean.
Oh, you're 100 on YouTube too. Okay, we'll link that as well.
Yeah. I'm almost at 500 on Twitch.
Holy crap, dude, that is awesome.
I used to stream, man. I used to stream a lot, but no one to play Rust with anymore.
Oh, dude. Oh, and then here, I'm gonna link his video, guys, that he made recently about the warrior leveling. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
If he's gonna link that video, and then I mean, obviously you can just subscribe from there if you want.
there we go.
That would be super awesome because the next one I plan on putting out is Rogue, which could go ahead and go over Rogue talents right now for leveling. If
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. So,
right.
but
I'm gonna pull
also
it up
I
on
want
the
to say
screen.
what you said too about, like, picking what you would like. That is 100% the most important thing in my opinion.
Yes.
To pick what you
No matter what struggles you face while you're leveling, the leveling portion may take a long time, but it pales in comparison to the amount of time that you'll spend on a character you enjoy at 60.
Mm-hmm.
So play, and thanks for that follow. Who was that? Thanks for the follow, Zog Tiger, and Fred Fox. Thanks. But yeah, so just pick like something that you know you're gonna like enjoy at 60. And if you're having issues enjoying at 60, I am telling you totally not, because if YouTube gods are listening, don't go over to Retro WoW and try out 60 characters and see how you like them. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't play on private servers.
Voldemort servers. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, let's do this rogue stuff.
So guys, a big thing I'm going to point out now is, like, most likely you're going to be leveling swords, right? Because I am a huge advocate. I love dagger rogues, but the fact that you won't be able to backstab from the front in classic will mean you will definitely see a lot less people leveling like that. So there are
even if you can backstab from the front, like, I still have always felt like combat is just stronger for leveling.
Oh, absolutely, and like,
hey, thanks, Claw.
oh, dude, Claw in the house. What's up, brother? So like
Yeah.
this is, my opinion and how I like to level as a rogue. A lot of people, there are a lot of different ways for a lot of
Hello,
rogues that I
everybody.
know. Like, I was watching, it was Hans Games, and there was a couple things that he had different that I do differently. So when I level rogue, these are some of the things that I look for, and a lot has to do with your playstyle. So rogue, there are some things where you can like kind of tweak it to like what you like or what you like better, but we'll go over like the basic leveling spec.
Antoine, if your guild tells you that you'll be able to raid as a DPS shaman, don't believe their lies. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
honestly, dude, totem twisting has its place, absolutely,
Agreed.
100%. And it all depends on like what guild you join, right? So if you join a guild that's like, oh, we're hardcore, we're all our shamans are going to be this, only heal. The thing is, though, man, like totem twisting shamans and enhancement shaman will be hands down better at totem twisting than a resto shaman would be, especially in say in the warrior in the tanks group or in the melees group. I definitely think there's at least one spot for an elemental shaman in the raid. So it also depends on if you just want to sit there and white hit the boss for nightfall prots and just totem twist. So also depends on how you want to play as that shaman. You know what I mean?
Turn my mic up a little bit in my stream. John was asking, and thanks for watching my streams, guys. I'm only 2 subscribers away on YouTube from 100. I love you guys. You're awesome.
Dude, that is fucking amazing. 2 more, guys. Come on, let's get him 2 more subs. 2 more subs. All right.
Okay, so rogue talents.
Yes. Okay, so
I think the first one by far is improved Sinister Strike.
absolutely. You put 2 in
Yep.
improved Sinister Strike, and honestly, 3 in improved Gouge. Improved
Yeah.
Gouge is so good, especially for PvP servers. It is
Yes,
just
and I can give you another great reason. When I make this video, I'll touch on a little bit more in depth, but having improved gouge lets you heal more.
Yep.
Bandaging in mid-fight with a longer gouge is super important,
So
but I'll go over the
important,
details
yeah.
of that in my video soon.
And the thing is, like, guys, lightning reflexes dodge. It's great and all, but you have evasion, right? So if you need it, pop evasion. Like that right there, I think is just so beneficial that you really don't even need lightning reflexes. So right after that, 100% go precision. 5 points of precision. It's
This
just
ties back to what I was saying about warriors, why you don't dual wield as a warrior when you're leveling, because your hit percentage is so low, but you only need like 12% to cap one-handers or something at max level, I think.
I think it's
For one-handers.
for one-hander. So the thing is, with your offhand, you're never going to be like. I mean, well, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
But so I think for rogues it's 12. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a while since I played a rogue like hardcore in rating. So the thing is though, but like while leveling, 5% is pretty friggin' good. Like you're not gonna have any gear on it for like the first usually 30 to 40 levels that you're gonna need. That you're gonna have any hit rating, right? Like you might get some hit rating on when you get like Blackstone Ring, other things like that. Like you'll start getting some hit rating like mid 40s to 50s. But getting that 5% hit with your melee weapons at such a low level, at level 19 you already have 5% hit. It's huge.
And then I think from here, the next thing what I do is go start putting points into parry, and I go ahead and max that out and grab
dude.
riposte.
Riposte is so good while leveling. So let's talk about this. So the first time I leveled my rogue, I didn't do this, right? And I used to shy away from deflection, and what I used to do is put a couple points in lightning reflexes, and then I would go improve sprint, and I would go like that. But then this last time around, I went ahead, got deflection, got riposte, and it is just so good, right? Because so let's read what riposte does. A strike that becomes active after parrying an opponent's attack, which happens a lot. You will be parrying a lot. This attack deals 150 weapon damage, which is really good, and disarms the target for 6 seconds. As a rogue, you're going to be getting hit a lot by people with melee weapons. To be able to disarm that target is not only so good for your survivability, and like I said, you're already going to be parrying a lot because you have 5 points in deflection now. That it's just so good for survivability and the amount of damage you do. Riposte is amazing, even in PvP scenarios. Imagine, parrying a warrior and then being able to disarm him. Huge.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's a huge deal. Like even like PvP, it's great, but PvE, think about the longevity of fights as well. Like you're getting 5% parry chance, so you're just going to be stopping a lot of damage straight up there. And then how many mobs use weapons? You're able to disarm them for 6 seconds. It's going to help with your pulling because you're not going to have so much downtime because you're not taking as much damage. So it helps out on just way too many levels to pass that ability up.
Yeah.
And then to touch on Luis87 said no remorseless strikes. Remorseless attacks is obviously good,
Yeah.
but in my opinion, you should at least get precision before you worry about increasing the damage. Because I mean, you got to think about it like, oh, I've got 40% increased critical strike chance in my sinister strike, but then you miss that sinister strike.
And not only
but
that,
if you had precision,
and I feel like remorseless attacks is a lot better if you're going dagger, because then you would have that 40% increase like for an ambush or backstab. You know, crit on your sinister strike is nice, but it's like way more beneficial if you're going remorseless attacks at dagger. The thing is, you're not going to be going a lot of dagger rogues, so definitely you're going to be getting remorseless attacks sooner or later. But I don't think it's like Atticus says, as beneficial as precision or even riposte, honestly. But so yeah, and that again, like that is where it depends on your play style. I honestly would probably put 2 points into remorseless attacks now, though. After this, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but see, like, it's just like, isn't it like it's just on the next, isn't it? Yeah, it's just your next.
Yeah.
So like, it's only one, and like you're spamming sinister strike.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I mean,
yeah.
in my opinion, I don't know. Like, I just keep going down combat because I want to get down to like blade flurry.
That's true, and I usually do the same, honestly. I mean, like,
Yeah.
So guys, again, this is going to be what Atticus and I do. Do whatever you like want to do the most. If you see more benefit out of that 40% chance to crit on your sinister strike, go ahead and do it. It could, benefit your. It could make your leveling process a little bit, faster. But next thing,
it's all it's just like depending, like, because there's probably some information out there that's got micromanaged which is best and which is not, but there's so many intricate little situations that you can't really account for. So it's just about what you feel like your play style is better.
And what you preference too. So
yeah.
Next thing I do is dual wield specialization, and I put 4 points, I think. Yeah, 4 points into dual wield spec so that you can get your next one into Blade Fury. Is that what you do?
Yeah, you just go until you can get into the next tree, and then you get Blade Flurry, and then your this is where you can go sword spec. Like in the guide that I'm making, I'm gonna have all the weapons like optimized and everything. So I think, be wrong, but I'm pretty sure swords is what you're gonna be using most.
Yes, 100%.
So so sword specialization, and then just get the 4 points there, and then go into the aggression, I think, next.
Right. So you get 4 points into dual wield specialization, and then 1 point into Blade Fury. 4 points into sword spec, and then actually I go 2 points into weapon expertise first before aggression, honestly.
Because,
do you? Okay. Well, increases.
You're right.
Right. So I mean,
it's the same thing I was saying about getting precision before you go for remorseless attacks, because you're trying to make things hit better.
And like especially like if you're playing a human, like you're gonna be benefiting this like even more because you already have that increased skill with sword and your maces. But again, guys, like 99% of the time for leveling, especially in classic, I highly recommend going sword specialization. Dagger will not just be that. It just won't be that viable because of the whole issue that we're going to have in classic with no backstab. So, yeah.
I mean, mace specialization is still like an option as well because it just reduces the damage that you take. It's random, but so is sword specialization. But sword specialization is still better in my opinion.
Yeah. So here, this is where like I tend to, you could just go aggression, right? Go 3 in aggression and then go adrenaline strike, or some people like to finish out dual wield, then put like 1 into aggression and then go adrenaline rush. Honestly, I think aggression is just really good. Increases the damage of your sinister strike and eviscerate abilities by, with 3 points, 6%.
Yeah, so, see, this is where like you got to go with what you feel, because like you could do one less point in aggression and then put 1 more point in the sword specialization, or you could do it with the dual wield. There's a lot of different ways to play with your points right there.
Yeah.
But it's all just comes down to what you feel is the best.
So for this one, I'm just gonna
I went 4 dual wield and 4 sword spec and then 3 in aggression.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that as well. That's personally what I. Yeah. I mean, aggression is really good, like 6% to your sinister strike and eviscerate. Those are your main abilities while leveling. And also, guys, want to mention that slice and dice while leveling is great. It's really good, but you really want to make sure that if you're using it, you're getting your full benefit of it, right? So if you can 5 combo point and kill a target with a 5 combo point eviscerate, go ahead. I'm sorry, eviscerate. Go ahead and use eviscerate. There's no reason to use slice and dice unless that target's going to remain up. So a lot of the times, like, well, if you have 2 targets up, then okay, yeah, use slice and dice. There's 2 targets. Your next target is going to benefit from you having that slice and dice. Slice and dice adds insane amount of damage. So it's very situational. So when you're using your slice and dice compared to eviscerate, again, like if you have 1 target and you want to burst them down as quick as possible, eviscerate will probably be quicker. If you
also have that mentality of thinking a few steps ahead. If you're going to be able to pull another mob directly after that, and you can finish this mob up, keep slice and dice up.
Exactly. And as soon as you go into the dungeons, man, like slice and dice, your first 5 combo points always will go to slice and dice before eviscerate. Like having slice and dice up, especially if you do slice and dice and you have blade freer up and adrenaline rush, wow, it is so much damage. It's like insane, crazy.
And Tina, don't forget, Tina, I am putting out a rogue video next, so
you are nice.
That one too. Yeah, that's the next one I'm gonna do. Is just like the warrior one, but rogue.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Okay, so right as soon as we get 31 points and get adrenaline rush, I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 points in remorse attacks.
Yep.
Again, like you could already have those 2. You might have adrenaline rush before. I think getting adrenaline rush at 40 is just. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also, like in PvP situations, you don't want to be the dude who doesn't have his 40-point talent like right at 40.
Dude, adrenaline rush in PvP is so good. I mean, popping adrenaline rush and like nuking someone feels so good, good. So yeah, I think having that adrenaline rush at 40 is beneficial, especially if you're doing dungeons, especially like I said, for PvP and even for soloing. Like I found a lot of points where I'm killing elites. As long as I had adrenaline rush, I feel like I could kill an elite a lot quicker because of that adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? Like keep them stunned, kill them quick, killing targets that are really hard to kill. Boom. And guys, making this moment might making me want to play a rogue so bad. I fucking love rogue leveling so much, dude. Like it is so much fucking fun. So much fun.
Yeah. People who say rogues are hard to level are just
I love it, dude. I fucking love it. I love it.
Yeah,
especially
so
like I did dwarf on my last one, and it was so much fun having that stone form, dude. So good against other rogues. So next, I go malice. How about you? 5 in malice.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like melee crit, it's just important.
5% crit, huge.
Yeah. And then I don't get anything from the second tier. I just get improved eviscerate because I mean, as a rogue, the only things you're really pressing, like more than anything else, is sinister strike and eviscerate.
Yeah.
So I mean, just increasing that damage.
That's really true. Like this is again where a lot of people's different styles will go in, right? So I personally, I really agree with you here, Atticus. I know a lot of people who will do 3 points in a ruthlessness and then go lethality, but I feel like 3 points in improved eviscerate is just really good.
You also got to think about like if you're staying up to date with your weapons, like ruthlessness starts to lose its luster because you're not like it's only like if this were retail when your combo points transferred over, ruthlessness makes more sense.
Yeah.
But since they only stay on that target, like by the time you eviscerate somebody, if you've got a 5-point eviscerate on somebody and they're not like almost dead, you're doing something wrong.
Yep, that's true. That's very true,
you shouldn't
man.
be worried about getting more combo points on them.
And a lot, like I said, like it has to do with your playstyle. Atticus and I, sounds like we're more the kind of person who 5 combo point eviscerate, try to kill them as soon as you can. Use slice and dice when you can if it's up, like for certain fights. But most of the time, 5 combo point eviscerate is what you're doing. I think flat 15%. Increased eviscerate, especially with that another 6% from aggression, is just you get those huge eviscerate crits, dude. So nice to see those giant eviscerate. I love those big eviscerates, dude. That's my play style personally. A lot of people will go ruthlessness, and then after this, I go lethality. It's just so good. Increases the critical strike damage bonus of your sinister strike, gouge, backstab, ghostly strike, and hemorrhage abilities by 30%. Huge, dude. Absolutely huge.
And then after that, I mean, you can go with which one you want here.
I put a point in Relentless for me. I put a point in Relentless.
And Relentless? Where is that? Oh,
so your finishing moves has a broken... So to restore 25% energy. So I think it's just 10% or something like it's
whichever one it is, it's good. Yeah. That's a good one. But and then so one in that for sure.
Yep.
And then it's up to you like which one you feel like is better. But my mentality on vile poisons versus
really
improved poisons is that vile poisons like increases damage dealt by your poisons, but
Improve
I don't.
poison. Yeah.
I think that it's far more effective to have your poison uptime better, like
Yeah.
to have a more chance to apply your poisons as opposed for them to do a little bit more damage. It is a lot of damage actually. I mean, it's like 16% if you put 4 points into it.
Yeah.
But
So what I do here actually, Atticus, is I finish out dual wield and sword spec, and
oh,
then
true.
then I go 2 into improved poisons.
See, I'm thinking more on the PvP side of things, where I want
Yeah.
to keep crippling poison up as much as possible.
True.
So that's why I like
True.
to
That's very
have the
true.
chance to apply it.
Because guys, like a lot of times in a PvE scenario, well, now that we have 16 debuff slots, who know? But I always just use instant poison because it doesn't put up a debuff slot, right? Even though deadly poison does way more damage when it has 5 stacks, especially if you have vile poisons. Whenever I played on my rogue, I was so used to not putting debuffs on the target because you didn't do that. It was debuff
and
slots.
see, I don't even really think about PvE stuff because I'm just like, I'm pretty, like, I've done raiding and I've downed a shit ton of stuff, but like, I just, PvP is me. Like,
Right.
I could care less if I'm like a top tier raider or
Yeah.
anywhere near the top tier of raiding. Like, I just need the gear from there so I can PvP.
So this is my spec that I go with here for leveling, and as soon as I hit 60, I will change it up a little bit because for PvE you definitely get more benefit out of slice and dice than you will eviscerate. And yeah, it's going to change here pretty much, pretty decently at level 60. I mean, depending on what you go, you can go dagger at level 60. I personally do go dagger at level 60 on my rogue, so my spec will change. But I do want to go over another spec that you could possibly do for PvP and leveling that I do see a lot of other people go. So it's basically a sword hemo spec that people do, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think.
So now this is it's kind of difficult for me to remember, but I'll just try to remember as much as I can. So now, of course, you won't be backstabbing, garroting, or ambushing, so opportunity is pretty much worthless. Master of Deception 5, right? Now, reducing your cooldown of your Vanish and Blind, really good I think for PvP. While leveling, it's good, and then put some in Camouflage as well. Ghostly Strike, and then Initiative gives you 25% to add an additional combo point to the target when using Cheap Shot. Basically your Cheap Shot. So if you're doing PvP a lot, Initiative is really good, and then go ahead and put some more points here into Camouflage, which increases the speed while leveling. So now, if you want to have that improved stealth, improved sap, which is really nice, even for PvE, which is really nice because you don't have, I mean, it's only 90% with 3 points in it. So, well, what we're going to do here is we'll do Ghostly Strike Serrated Blades first just to have those 3 points. But improved sap is really nice. So if you have 2 points in there, 60% chance to reduce of not coming out of stealth when using your sap. So, but the main thing we want to do here is get your hemorrhage, right? So you have your hemorrhage ability. Now, preparation is also just too good to give up. Now I would put another point here and then start working down into lightning reflexes, precision, improved sprint. And
You go right lightning reflexes here? Like, you
Yeah.
don't get the improved gouge?
I'm sorry. Yes, I do get 3 in improved gouge, and then it's gonna. I did that wrong. So 3 into. There you go. 3 into there. Improved sprint, and I'm trying to remember what else. I think you do. It reduces the energy shot of. Yeah, so you do 2 into dirty deeds, and then deadliness here, and then so this is like a deep PvP like kind of spec where you're doing. You get 10% attack power here. I would put 2 into Remorseless there, and then finish it off by putting 5 into Malice. So this is like definitely a different spec. You can put your last point wherever you want to put it, finish it off in Camouflage. But I do see some people actually doing this spec here now, I personally won't be doing this, but it is a spec that you could do. If you're going to be doing a lot of PvP and things like that, you do get a lot of benefit having that increased speed while in stealth. Hemo is pretty fun. Prep is just amazing. Be able to use your abilities just instantly. Use them again. Vanish, blind, sprint. All your oh shit cooldowns just right over again with preparation.
Jesper, I plan on making a video about the gathering professions right now, as far as like the most effective way to level them on the beginning of a fresh start server. So that should help you out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I just want to go over my favorite spec real quick, because this is legit, I think, like the most fun spec as a rogue. And it is just... Okay, so hold on.
Oh shit. Oh, by the way, over at 104 subscribers now. Thank you guys so much.
Holy shit!
I really
Absolutely
appreciate it.
nice, dude. That is awesome,
Thank you guys.
dude. That is fucking beautiful. Improved ambush. Serrated blades. 1, 2, 3. Prep. And think I'm trying to remember what else I have in this. So this is my my cold blood prep spec. So dude, this spec right here, of course this is dagger, you know, but it is just so much fun. So much fun. Oh, initiative. I'm trying to remember what else I do here. Do I do deadliness, or I think it'd be better to put another one improved points. So this is kind of like, now there are variants of it. What you can do, having that remorseless attacks is really good because it does work for targets that give honor. So you could put another point in there and getting that 40% increased critical strike on your next ambush, backstab, which is really nice. But I think improved poisons is really good, important to have too, some points in there. So this is my cold blood prep spec, something like this, and this is a dagger spec for level 60. This isn't leveling. I never talked about leveling. I just wanted to show it real quick. This spec right here is so much freaking fun, dude. So much fun. But of course you won't be doing that.
Mr. Miko is asking if you can link my channel.
Oh yeah, we'll link it. Let me just link your actual channel instead of the video that I've been doing. But guys, this is the channel. So let me put Atacas YouTube channel, and I'll just copy and paste this so I can do it again. There we go. So guys, please go over, support Atacas. Dude, I had so much fun today. Unfortunately, I got to end in a minute or so, but thank you so much for doing this today, dude. I love leveling like so much, and like I'm thinking about like what I'm gonna do while leveling, like what classes I want to play. You know, like Priest for me is 100% what I'm gonna do. I think Priest and Warrior make such a good combination while leveling too. Like
the only downside to Priest Warrior leveling is that you do not generate rage when you have an absorb shield on.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a small down point when you're leveling.
You just never use it. I just never use it. That's all. I just never used it. And honestly, like, so my main thing that I really like about Warrior and even the Shadow Priest is that Vampiric Embrace, right? You're getting healing back when I'm doing damage, and the fact that I can heal you when I need to, you know, even if you want to stay out of shadow form, and you know, but I think even going into shadow form and getting that healing from Vampiric Embrace is just so good, dude. Like the compatibility between those two, you know, I have silence, so if a target is shooting from far away, I can silence them. You can charge them. Amazing in PvP, like being able to heal you. I mean, Shadow Priest is already a dangerous spec in PvP, so is Warrior.
Oh yeah.
Warrior having someone to back you up with heals and things like that, so nice, dude. So I'd be really interested in leveling, do a dual leveling thing like with a Warrior and a Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be fun as hell. Might have to convince one of my friends to go Priest.
Yeah, absolutely. So Temujin says, Def, how good would a rogue be if they could use two-handers? Oh my god, dude. I don't know, but dude, honestly, so rogues in the Horde are just so good. So the thing about Wind Fury, guys, Wind Fury does only affect your main weapon, but it is just so good. So imagine, right, you have Hand of Justice, which is a 2% chance to have that, you know, to have that extra attack. So we'll do that sword spec thing again. So where we had, you guys see it here. So sword spec gives you that, is it 5% with 5 points in there, right? To get an extra attack on your sword specialization. So imagine you have 5% chance to get an extra swing with sword specialization. Imagine you have Hand of Justice with that 2% extra attack, and then you have Wind Fury with a 20% chance to have, 20% with the Wind Fury totem to get an extra attack. Like that right there is why just rogues are so friggin' good. I mean, rogues are amazing on the Alliance as well because you have sword specialization on humans. But dude, Wind Fury is just too good for melee. It's just so good, and that's why shamans are amazing as well. And that's why I'm going Horde, baby, for the Horde, all the way. Loktar Ogar, baby, dude. Atacas, I had so much fun today, man.
Yeah, dude, I loved it.
Guys, again, please, go support Atacas over at his channel. I'm gonna link it one more time. What was your next plan for your next video again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's gonna be just like the Warrior speed leveling guide, but it's just gonna be like a rogue point of view. So it's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be the same that you see, but I'm gonna explain some of the differences with like random professions and like then I'm going to show the weapon progression and whatnot. I've been doing a bunch of research on it, but my plan is to cover all of them. But I know that for some of them, I'm going to need a lot of help because some classes I just terrible at.
Yeah, and I'm the same as way, man. Like that's why I really enjoyed doing this, because I learned a lot about Warrior today. Like honestly, I didn't know jack shit about Warrior, especially for leveling. I knew a little bit that I knew from Melderon, but like I'm really intrigued to try leveling as a Warrior now. Like they're
really hard, but man, I mean, I don't know. Even like on top of how good they are at 60 and how rewarding that is, but like being able to efficiently level as a Warrior in itself is, just like rewarding.
Yes.
The thought of just being like, I did it. Like I'm the fucking badass of vanilla WoW.
Yep. Dude, Holtzy, real quick. Holtzy, thank you. Much love. Awesome stream for the $1.99.
Hey.
Thank you, brother.
And Holtzy, thanks for that subscribe too, Holtzy.
Jedi.
And is Wind Fury procs per minute? I'm getting a question in my stream.
The most serious mind.
What's that? You had a question in your stream?
Yeah, is Wind Fury procs per minute, or is it an internal cooldown?
So the internal cooldown didn't come until the Burning Crusade. So there actually is not a internal cooldown until the Burning Crusade. So basically, it's that 20%. But the thing is, you can't proc Wind Fury off of Wind Fury. So that's the only thing you can't do in vanilla.
I feel like there was a point when you could, maybe in like patch 1.1.
Yep. Basically, in like patch 1.1, you could proc Wind Fury off of Wind Fury, which was insane. So imagine there was a chance where you could just Wind Fury nonstop. You'd be like,
yeah. I mean, that essentially means that you could one-shot a boss.
Yeah,
but,
kind of.
It would take all kinds of stars aligning to do it,
absolutely.
But theoretically.
But so there's no internal cooldown on Wind Fury in vanilla. That's why it's so good. In the Burning Crusade, I think it was like a couple second internal cooldown they put on it, which sucked. Which is just so. I mean, where's the fun in that? But it's 20% chance on each swing to proc Wind Fury. So if the RNG gods are on your side, like they were for me the other day when I was on my level 39 Twink Shaman, where I just one shot like 2 mages and a hunter, it's so much fun. You know what I mean? It is just so much fun, dude. I love it.
And Outbreak, thank you, Outbreak. I worked really hard on that portrait frame. All the art and everything that you see on my channel,
Did you do that yourself?
I do it all myself.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so dude. I'm gonna hook you all up with some stuff if you want me to. Just let me know.
Let's just see this.
And look,
holy
if you haven't seen the portrait on my, or like the webcam overlay on my stream on Twitch or on YouTube.
Let me show that real quick. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, go check that out because I'm on. If you want that,
follow
I'll
you
yet
on Twitch. What kind of friggin'?
I think I followed you on there.
There we go. Okay, we got the follow now.
But yeah, I made the little elite like icon for my video portrait on my webcam overlay or whatever.
Oh,
but
nice.
Also, Outbreak had a question: what is better for PvP and PvE for rogues regarding swords and daggers? I still think like combat swords is just the way to go for everything, unless you want to go maces for PvP.
So combat sword is really good, but honestly, Atticus, I love combat dagger for PvP because I think the burst potential, right? The burst potential is just so good, and so backstab in PvP is just amazing. Like it does so much damage, especially when you have the right talents. I personally, for PvP, I mean, a Hemo sword spec is really good, but I think for like when you're just wanting to blow people up, to open up with a cheap shot, backstab, Thistle Tea, backstab, cold blood, eviscerate, dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna differ with you. I'm gonna say my favorite for PvP personally is that spec that I showed you for daggers. But again, you need to get that. Like if you have double Fell Striker, oh my god, that'd be amazing. Or like if you get lucky and you get like the Tooth and Perdition's Blaze, so many really good things that you could get. But yeah, guys. So I personally, I mean, like I said, sword spec is good for PvP, but I personally prefer dagger in PvP as a rogue.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's a good thing about rogues though is that they're a lot more flexible than other classes. Like as far as like which way you can play them. Yes. Like a lot of classes in Classic are just like you just do this.
Yep.
And that is it.
Exactly. And rogues and warriors too, like you have a lot of options with you too. And that's what I love so much about vanilla. Like even other specs, and we'll go over another day, we'll go over some other ones. I wanted to do paladins a little bit. talk about them. I wanted to talk about. I'm glad we went over druids a little bit. I want to talk about mages. And
we could do this again, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm down to do that again. So, guys, again, thank you all so much for coming out today. I'm sorry again for the scuff stream in the beginning. I don't know what the hell happened. I felt like such a friggin'. I was like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? I'm freaking out. But yeah. Thanks again, Atacas, brother, and guys.
Hey, man, yeah, thank you for having me, man. This
No problem,
meant
dude.
a lot to me. It helped me out tremendously. Again, everyone, subscribe to me. Stay tuned. I'm gonna put out a bunch more content in the future.
Hell yeah, that's what it's all about, brother. Helping each other out and being there for each other. I mean, that's what Classic WoW's all about, right? That's
Exactly.
literally what it's all about. So, guys.
And anyone who's got negative stuff to say, just, we ain't going to deal with it. It's the same way we're talking about not needing right-click reporting. Like, we're just going to remove you from our shit and just keep on going. So, have fun being negative.
It's, it's like negativity just, I mean, what's the point for it? I mean, I just don't even pay attention to it. But that's the thing. Like, we have so many amazing people in this community. Like, there's really not that much of it. And I just love, like, everyone that shows up to the stream, guys. Thank you so much. I love you so much. So, until next time, guys, this is Def Camp and my boy, Atacas.
Yes. Sorry, yeah, I'm not used to it, man. I'm just doing shit by myself.
I hear you, brother. All right, guys. Keep on and grinding, guys. Peace. Love you.
See you.
See you guys.